With the Bank of Scotland mobile app, you can track what you're spending, broken down by category every month.
I like to call them the bank of knowing where my money goes. All on coffee.
And you get a notification if your balance falls below £50.
The bank of very handy if you've overdone it a bit lately.
Get everything in one place with the Bank of Scotland mobile app. Download it now. Bank of Scotland, by your side. Mobile banking customers only. Terms and conditions apply.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on Scottish Cup 5th round weekend. We've had one top flight casualty already, with Morton knocking out Motherwell. Today it's all about the likes of Aberdeen, Livingston, Kilmarnock and Hibs, with Rangers against Ayr to come later. And tomorrow Celtic have had quite the week. They head to St Mirren. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me, three men who've seen a few cup shocks in their time: Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Today marks a special Scottish Cup anniversary. It was 13 years ago this week that Scott Brown stood in front of El Hadj Diouf at Ibrox, having scored the equaliser for Celtic against Rangers, and the Brunei was born, rocketing Mark Wilson to stardom in the process. This afternoon, 13 years of pent-up aggression from the Rangers fans will be coming Scott Brown's way when he takes out his Ayr United team to face Philippe Clement's side. And after Morton becoming the first team into the Scottish Cup's last 8, is there going to be another Premiership casualty today? Hibs at Inverness Cally Thistle, trouble. Livingston at Partick Thistle, danger. Let's get this party started.
Yeah, the 5th round is where it sort of gets real. Quarterfinals just round the corner. Morton in there already, and teams looking ahead to what could potentially be an unbelievable season if it's one of the minnows that gets there. But for Rangers, for Celtic, they want to get business done as quickly as possible. Some intriguing ties in there. Hugh's rightly saying Partick Thistle v Livy, Inverness v Hibs are the ones we're all looking at. Will there be a shock at Kilmarnock with Cove Rangers? Doubtful. Aberdeen Bonnyrigg, I can't see there being anything there other than a Neil Warnock first victory, but a good day of football ahead.
Yeah, the weekend's not got off to the greatest start for the Motherwell fans, I've got to say. Well done to Gimri and Morton. Fantastic last night, deserved to be in the quarter-final. But it's all about today, it's all about some interesting games. Hugh quite rightly pinpoints a couple there that I think all eyes will be on. Inverness, Hibs, always a difficult place to go, Inverness, as I've told you many times in this show. And Partick Livingston, that could be a cracker, but I'm looking forward to today's football.
Yeah, it does get real at this stage, Hugh Keevins, doesn't it? When the quarter-final stage is around the corner, you don't need me to tell you how many steps that is away from Hampden. This is when the big boys start looking at the trophies that are almost expected of them by the fan base, and the other teams think maybe, just maybe, we could get ourselves some silverware.
Well, the whole weekend is about the Scottish Cup tightrope. You've got Celtic and Paisley tomorrow. The League Cup's already gone. That's 1/3 of their treble from last season away. The league title is hanging by a thread. Celtic on top only just. And now the Scottish Cup that they won last June by beating Inverness Cally Thistle, very much up for grabs if St Mirren can replicate the form of their last 2 games. Hibs, Dundee, 5 goals for St Mirren, no goals for the opposition. And while we're at it, Rhys McCabe, what a job he does for Airdrie. They've got Hearts 5 o'clock tomorrow night, and Hearts aren't in the clear either.
I think that's also the beauty of it, Mark. You're never clear of the pressures of your league priorities, whether that is a title race, whether it's a relegation battle. The cup can come along and make all that much worse. It can pile the pressure on if you're having a bad season or you're having a bad couple of weeks, and then you go and get cup disappointment on top of it. it's just not the case where you can say that this lives separately from the league in that respect.
Well, it's the beauty the cup has, because it can alleviate some pressure off managers whose league form is poor. But if they've got a cup run, then clubs will see that finances are coming into the club. The fans will get on board because they see it as a dream. But of course, like you say, Gordon, it works the other way, where you're expected to go deep into this competition, and support bases like Aberdeen and Hearts and Hibs expect to get to the final and even have dreams of really winning that. When you get put out at this stage, then pressure comes round pretty quickly. The managers will be well aware of that this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it is an exciting time for the Scottish Cup in the sense of next quarter-finals. When you get to that quarter-finals, you're thinking, oh, this could be our year. There's no doubt if the draw comes out luckily for you. As I say, some good games this afternoon. I go back to last night. Well done to Morton. Thought they were excellent. Over the weekend, Hugh points again. Airdrie, Hearts. Hearts, I'm not fancy that, but they're in good form. And obviously St Mirren Celtic tomorrow. That's one I'm certainly going to watch.
I like Neil Warnock's 3 words, which sum up this weekend. We are now in the Scottish Cup's muck and nettles. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it indeed. Why don't we start closest to home and work our way as far as we can from Clyde 1 HQ. I think that means you're up first, Roger Hanna. Partick Thistle against Livingston. Is this one of those classic ties that technically it would be a shock because they're in different divisions, but there's hardly a lot between these sides?
Yeah, and you just begin to wonder what actually would represent a surprise here in the Cup this afternoon, Gordon. I can't give Hugh Keevins any nettles, but I can give him a fair bit of muck. There's an area on the near side just in front of me here at Firhill that is not at its best. Livingston used to playing on that plastic pitch throughout the Tony Macaroni, so this will be something of a culture shock, I would imagine, for David Martindale's team. Whether that levels things out or not, I don't know, but as we say, what is a shock? Livingston's win against Wraith in the last round, their only victory in any competition for more than 4 months, whereas Thistle haven't lost here since October and will go into this game full of confidence and looking for a better revenge. These aren't teams that meet often. In fact, they haven't met since a playoff final almost 6 years ago. Livy won both legs for a 3-1 aggregate success to go up and put Thistle down, and have stayed in those divisions ever since. Scott Pittman among the scorers for Livy. He starts this afternoon. Chris Doolan got the Jags goal, and he'll be of course in the home dugout this afternoon. Livy won a League Cup meeting in penalties between them 7 years ago as well, so you need to go back 11 years for Partick Thistle's last victory in this fixture. Mind you, it was a 6-1 rout here with Chris Doolan among the scorers. Thistle, their priority has to be promotion after missing out in the playoff final to County last season. They're third in the Championship. They've not played for a couple of weeks. A 1-1 draw at Airdrie, and there's 2 changes to the side from them. Ben Stanway comes into the midfield, and friend of Super Scoreboard, the skipper, Big Woody himself, Brian Graham, is back in the team. Scott Robinson and Tommy Adeloy drop out. So they've got Jamie Snedden in goal. It's a back 4. Jack McMillan, Aaron Muirhead, Lewis Nielsen and Harry Mount. Midfield, Ben Stanway, Kerr McInroy and Stuart Bannigan. And up front, a very dangerous trio of Stevie Lawless, Brian Graham and Player of the Month, Aidan Fitzpatrick. On the bench, Stuart Mitchell and Williams, Ngwenya, Alston and Lyon, Mackenzie, Diak and Adeloy. As for Livy, well, as we say, isolated at the bottom of the Premiership table. They lost 1-0 at Kilmarnock very late on Wednesday night, and David Martindale's reacted with 3 changes. Out go George, Bradley and Carson, who's ineligible. In come Michael McGovern, Joel Newbley and Stephen Kelly. So it'll be Michael McGovern in goal. Back 3, Sean Donnellan, Io Obalai and Michael Nottingham. Across the middle, Jamie Brandon, Scott Pittman, Jason Holt, Stephen Kelly and Dan Mackay. And up top, Joel Newbley with Tete Yenge on the bench, George Anderson, Bradley, Gary Shinnie and Sean Kelly, Ledingham, Culbert and Lawal. The referee is Nick Walsh, and of course we've no VAR at Firhill today.
No VAR, certainly no blue cards yet either. Like we said, we're stretching. The word shock is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, Hugh. But if we want to get official about it, they're in different divisions. Will we get a so-called shock there today?
I think it's very possible, because they've got Brian Graham back, and Brian Graham means goals for Partick Thistle. He does the same kind of turn for them as George Oakley does for Morton. No, I didn't mean to mention George Oakley. I mean, what I meant was that Brian Graham's a prolific goal scorer.
Yeah, well avoided, Hugh. Yeah. Listen, it's certainly a good chance for Partick Thistle. No, I was going to say it's certainly a chance for Partick Thistle, but you need to remember,
love me, Partick Thistle.
No, I'm going the opposite way. You need to remember the league that Livingston's in, and although it would be a shock, they're struggling in the
league
Premiership.
Livingston are in. They're hitting Partick in the head. They're up far down the league.
But you must know there's a difference between bottom and
Didn't-
the third place in the
last night there
championship.
Didn't show it last night, did they?
Listen, they could be a shot, but I think Partick will be well guarded against a Livingston team. It'll probably go there and make it difficult for them.
Roger, David Martindale's priority would be to try and stay in the division, but you know he's been one to watch in recent weeks. Very interesting post-match comments, reacting to the situation in the league. Does a cup defeat damage his situation any further, or are the teams actually so close that Livy would just have to take that in the chin and get on with it?
No, I think it would certainly damage his situation even more. David Martindale is in need of wins regardless of the competition. If they could get a win this afternoon, it might lift morale. I think they've got a home game against St Mirren in the league next Saturday. He just needs to get back to the winning habit, because as we said, apart from beating Wraith Rovers in the last round at the Tony Macaroni, you need to go back to, I think it's the 7th of October, Gordon, when they beat Motherwell at home. That's the last time they won a game in the league, and morale is rock bottom. As Dan says, they're isolated at the bottom of the Premiership. They'll just take any sort of victory, I think, just to give them a little bit of belief that they can get out that predicament in the league.
Right, Google Maps tells me Kilmarnock's next up before working our way away from here. Kilmarnock against Cove. Fraser Wishart.
Yeah, it could be an interesting one here today, Gordon, but you have to say it couldn't be more perfectly set up for Kilmarnock to get into the quarterfinals of the Cup. You have a game against a League One team, killing great form, 1 defeat in 11 games since the start of December, and a strong squad for Derek McInnes to choose from as we came out of the January transfer window. It's actually the 100th game as Kilmarnock manager for Derek, and they are on the verge of having a fantastic season. 4th in the Premiership and a place in the quarterfinals after today, I think, would see the home fans beginning to dream of Hampden and perhaps even winning the Cup. They've beaten both the Old Firm here this season, and they're strong favourites today. And I have to say, it's really down to how Kilmarnock players play today, anywhere near their best, and they will win. But if they drop their standards, you never know, it might just give the Cove players that wee bit of hope of a huge upset. Cove, of course, been so inconsistent this season, which must frustrate Paul Hartley. Really poor start to the season. They're sitting bottom of the table for them. A really excellent run into December, but they're only winning in their last 7 games since Christmas was in the Cup. In this Cup, the previous round against Brora Rangers, 3 draws, 3 defeats, but still third in the league. And they've got a few well-known faces in the team. Mark Reynolds, of course, played at the highest level. Motherwell, Aberdeen, Dundee United. Michael Doyle, Mitch Megson played at the highest level. Paul McGowan's on the bench, but they're missing Ian Vigors and Fraser Fyvie, who won the Cup with Hibs a few years ago through injury. But I think the man that Kilmarnock will have to be wary of today is Ruman Burrell, a player who played 6 games on loan here in 2021 season for Kilmarnock, and he scored 18 goals in 23 games this season for Cove Rangers. Derek McInnes has rang the changes. He's made 6 changes, but maybe just a sign of the strength of his squad. It doesn't really weaken the team too much. Out go Wright, Davis, Armstrong, Stewart, Vassell and Donnelly, and in come Ndaba, Murray, Polworth, Kennedy, McKenzie, and a first start for Kevin Van Veen. So a 3-4-1-2 formation. Will Dennis in goal. Back 3, Lewis Mayo, Stuart Finlay and Corey Ndaba. Fraser Murray, David Watson, Liam Polworth and Matty Kennedy across the middle, with Rory McKenzie tucked in behind the 2 strikers, Marley Watkins and Kevin Van Veen. Kieran O'Hara, Joe Wright, Kel Vassell, Danny Armstrong, James Bolzagi, Innes Cameron, Greg Stewart, Liam Donnelly and Gary Mackay-Stephen are the subs. 2 changes for Paul Hartley. Out go Shields and Lawal, and in come Gillingham and Aaron Darge, whose brother is playing for Scotland today at Rugby Rory. So the parents will be split on whether they come here to watch this one son, or do they go to Murrayfield to watch him playing for Scotland. They go with a 3-5-2 formation. Nicholas Suman in goals. A back 3 of Josh Kerr, Mark Reynolds and Aaron Darge. Across the middle, Michael Doyle, Blair Yule, Will Gillingham, Mohamed Niang and Connor Scully. And the 2 strikers, Mitch Megginson and Ruman Burrell. There are only 5 substitutes for Cove Rangers. Ballant Damas, Jacob Jones, Paul McGowan, Kyle Connell and Cameron Stewart. And as you were saying earlier, no VAR and no blue cards to help the referee today, who's Mr Grant Irvin.
Looking forward to that one. Kilmarnock against Cove. Aberdeen, Neil Warnock's Aberdeen as they're now called, against Bonnie Rig Rose. That's a proper cup tie, and Dave Galloway's there.
Yes, Gordon, thank you. It's a home debut for Aberdeen boss Neil Warnock, with fans organising a special display to mark the 75-year-old's first game in charge here at Pittodrie. He's certainly got an impressive CV in management, we all know that, with over 1,600 games under his belt. But one thing missing is a domestic cup, and he's aiming to put that right during his interim tenure. And of course, they're strongly fancied to make it through to the last 8 of the Scottish Cup at the expense of a side sitting 5th in League 2. But Bonnyrigg, for whom amazingly Sean Connery played in the early 50s as a winger, they've never been this far in the competition, and they come here with nothing to lose. And the streets of the Midlothian town are much quieter than usual, with a large travelling support coming up the road. We're expecting around 1,000 of them, which is fantastic. They're coming up the road to enjoy a day out. And in the Scottish Cup, well, you never know. To quote manager Robbie Horne, there's no point in playing football if you can't dream about causing upsets. Let's take a look at the team lineups then. 5 changes for Aberdeen, but it still is a pretty strong squad, a pretty strong lineup. Ross Doohan, Duke, Shayden Morris, Dante Polvara and Angus MacDonald are in. Keller Roos, Stefan Gartenman, Jamie McGrath, Connor Barron and Johnny Hayes are out. So it's Ross Doohan in goals, a back 4 of Nicky Devlin, Angus MacDonald, Richard Jensen and Jack McKenzie, Graham Shinney and Dante Polvara. The sitters, then it's Shayden Morris, Leighton Clarkson and Duke, with Bojan Majowski leading the line. The subs for the Dons today, it's Roos, Gartenman, McGrath, Barron, Hayes, Phillips, Sockler, Duncan and Milne. What about Bonnyrigg Rose? Well, a couple of changes for them. In come Smart Ozadola and Callum Conley out. Drop Scott Mercer and Declan Byrne. So it's Paddy Martin in goals. Across the back, Callum Donnelly, Kerr Young, Neil Martinuke and Rhys Peggy. Sitting midfielders, Angus Mailer and Lee Curry. Then further upfield, Connor Doan, Ross Gray and Bradley Barrett, with Smart Ozadola leading the attack for Rose today, whose substitutes are Andrews, Jarvis, Stewart, McGahey, McGale, Wardell and Watson. And your match referee at Pittodrie is Matthew McDermott.
Looking forward to that, which means the furthest travelled pundit for the afternoon is David Friel. Inverness against Hibs. That looks like a good one, David.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Gordon Hughes sensing trouble. I don't think he's the only one. This does have a little bit of a feel of a cup upset. I think it's fair to say all the pressure's on Hibs coming into this one. Inverness have a celebrity fan here as well. Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher, he's just appeared. He's in town to see his son James, who plays for Inverness. I'm sure he's hoping to witness an upset too. I said Hibs not in great form. They did cause Celtic problems in midweek, but the bottom line is they lost again. They've just one win in the last 8 games. That was against Forfar in the last round. I think losing to a championship side in Inverness is unthinkable really for Hibs. Been a bad week for them, as I said. Lost to St Mirren and Celtic at home. Going to be a big travelling support here today, and I think they're expecting a win. Nick Montgomery's made so many signings in January. He's trying to bed them in, but they're going to have to up their game to see off Duncan Ferguson's men. Inverness will be right up for this today. And at a freezing stadium, it's really, really cold here. I think this is going to be a real introduction to Scottish football for the new boys. Hibs have actually only met Inverness 3 times in the last decade. They've always kind of missed each other, but they did beat them in the way to winning the Cup in 2016, so I don't know if that's maybe an omen. Nick Montgomery's made 3 changes from midweek. The 2 Dillons, Levitt and Venti are out, and so is Eli Yuan. Elezier, Mayenda, Maizian, Mayolida and Luke Amos are in for their first start. So Hibs are going to be David Marshall in goals, back 4 of Lewis Miller, Will Fish, Nectarios Giantis and Jordan Abita. Luke Amos, Joe Newell, Nathan Mariah Welsh will be the midfield 3 with Boyle and Mayenda either side of Mayolida. The subs for Hibs are Wallacott, Hanlon, Levitt, Yuan, Venti, Cadden, Stevenson, Lafondra and Marcondes. As for Inverness, you need to remember they got to all the way to the Scottish Cup final last season. I'm sure they want another run this time. Not doing too great in the Championship, being up and down. They're 7th at the moment, but they do have players to cause Hibs problems, and the likes of Billy Mackay's been such a prolific striker for them over the years. Duncan Ferguson lost 2 Scottish Cup finals during his Dundee United days. He says taking Cally Thistle to Hampden would be a career highlight for him. So looking back, he faced Hibs 7 times during his playing career at United and Rangers. Surprisingly, never scored against them, but I think he's back in his side to make a shock today. It looks like a 3-4-2-1 for Inverness. It's going to be Matt Ridgers in goals, Jeremiah Chiloka Mullen, James Carricker and Rennie Savage at the back, Cammy Kerr, Max Anderson, Charlie Gilmore and Cameron Harper across the middle, with Sean McAllister and Nathan Shaw in behind Billy Mackay. Subs for Inverness are Mackay, Doran, Samuels, McGregor, Pepple, Boys, Brooks and Ujdur, and the referee in the Highlands is Colin Stephen.
Looking forward to that. Could there be a shock on the cards there? We will find out. We've certainly had one top flight casualty, so don't take my word or Gordon Dalziel's word for it. Roger Hanna, just strip the emotion back. Give us your balanced view on what was a great win for Morton last night.
They were bullied out of it, Gordon. If you've ever seen a football team in the image of its manager, that is Morton at the minute. They look as if they've got 11 Dougie Emerys in the park. They scrap for everything. They fight their corner. They back each other up. They're now on, I think it's a 13 or 14 game unbeaten run. They may well be in the Premiership promotion playoffs at the end of the season, and they thoroughly deserved the win. You could have put the kettle on for it the moment Alan Power careered into one of the Motherwell midfielders after 2 minutes and got up with a big grin in his face, because he knew at that stage Morton were up for it. Motherwell weren't. Morton were going through.
Yeah, Fraser, I can just about reluctantly accept it was a good cup tie on the telly Friday night. Massive travelling support, good home support as well. And again, all credit to Morton.
Yeah, it was. It was a great watch, I have to say. Even when the old team went out, it's still fond memories of Motherwell, and perhaps boards of directors can learn. You see Stuart Kettlewell, who's picked up in recent weeks. He was under real pressure for his job. So was Dougie Emery. And Roger's saying there it was 13 games unbeaten. Before that, they were sitting near the bottom of the table, having done so well last year. And there were supporters, there were people saying, no, Dougie Emery must go and try and get rid of the manager, but the board stuck with him, and it's been terrific turnaround. It was a great to watch, and they've got some decent players. Morton, I saw them play Thistle fairly recently, and they drew and they should have won, so I think they'll be in and around the playoffs. We talk about the joy of the cup. I'm not sure there's much joy around for Parkway. They could have done with getting to the quarters and maybe in the semis and getting that cash from it, but well done to Morton, and they'll be sitting tomorrow not really caring who they get in the draw. They just want a home tie at Capel, get the fans in again, get an old-fashioned atmosphere. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, David, I've always said Motherwell should really just concentrate in the league at the moment.
Yeah, I mean this in the nicest possible way. Morton look absolutely horrible to play against. You know, as Roger said, when Alan Power crashed into that tackle, you just had a bad feeling for Motherwell. I think in the last 20 minutes when Andy Halliday came on, Adam Devine came on, they looked a different team, but it was too late by then. And I need to pay special tribute to George Oakley up front. I thought it was an old-fashioned centre-forwards performance. I thought he was outstanding, deserved his goal, and well done to Morton.
Yep, so we've had one result, one name in the hat. That is Morton, who will join them this afternoon. We've given you team news ahead of the 3 o'clock kickoffs, so like we always do on a Saturday, we'll take a look at some of the week's biggest talking points next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Meet Simon.
Hi there.
Dad of 3.
I can easily manage the kids' hectic schedules, but seeing a doctor at a time that suits, nightmare.
Thankfully, Aviva can help. As Simon and his family already have Aviva health insurance, they have 24/7 digital access to a GP.
Amazing. Back to karate, ballet, juggling.
Search Aviva Health, helping solve your health insurance puzzles. It takes Aviva. This service is a non-contractual benefit. Aviva can withdraw or amend at any time. T's and C's apply.
With the Bank of Scotland mobile app, you can track what you're spending, broken down by category every month.
I like to call them the bank of knowing where my money goes. All on coffee.
And you get a notification if your balance falls below £50.
The bank of very handy if you've overdone it a bit lately.
Get everything in one place with the Bank of Scotland mobile app. Download it now. Bank of Scotland, by your side. Mobile banking customers only. Terms and conditions apply.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Big day of Scottish Cup action. We are all across it. We've given you the team news ahead of the 3 o'clock games. We will build up, of course, to Rangers against Ayr as the afternoon progresses. We've had a brief look back on Morton Motherwell and plenty more previews ahead of tomorrow's games to come as well. But like most Saturdays at this point of the show, we take a look back on the week's biggest talking points, and I think the title race, Roger Hannah, is probably the biggest talking point. Yes, within that there's the usual VAR drama and mumping and moaning, but it feels like this was the week that the title race really came to life.
Yeah, very much so. We now have the ding-dong of one team playing one day, the other team playing the next day, one team going ahead, the other one catching up, or vice versa, Gordon. And it's something we've not had in the Premiership for a number of years now. Rangers haven't really run Celtic close when Celtic were winning the league. Celtic didn't run Rangers close when Rangers won it under Steven Gerrard. So now we are in the last 12 or 13 games, I think it is, and it promises to be a thrilling title run in. Rangers won on Tuesday night to draw level temporarily with Celtic. Celtic then moved 3 points clear with that late win at Hibs on Wednesday night. They've obviously played a game more, and even when we get back to it next week, Rangers can go level or maybe top on goal difference when they play Ross County on Wednesday night. Then Celtic play Kilmarnock Saturday, Rangers play St Johnstone Sunday. It just promises to be topsy-turvy and full of thrills and spills.
Your favourites now, Hugh?
Rangers for me. I think momentum is with Rangers. I think Celtic are going from game to game. The latest injury problem is Alistair Johnston, who'll take no part in this weekend's game and may not be in the team for a few weeks. Brendan Rodgers, the performances since the end of the winter break have been awful. He got away with one at Easter Road on Wednesday, but for Adam Ida and his composure when faced with a penalty kick, there could have been another rumble in the stands as there was at Aberdeen last weekend when the banner came out being critical of the board. I think for me it's very, very simple. Celtic have lost their way and Rangers have the prize in sight.
Whose favourites, Mark?
Nothing between them, and I know that's the obvious thing to say just because the way the league's sitting at the minute. You can see Rangers have taken a lot from their new manager, a proper manager who knows how not only to control the team, but it looks like he's aiming to control the full club, which I think Rangers needed. They needed somebody to steer them in the right direction. Hugh's right, Brendan Rodgers struggling slightly at the minute. A lot going on at Celtic. Fans not happy again with the appointment of Brendan Rodgers in the summer and won't let it go. It was almost like there was a group waiting for a period of bad performances, and I think the banner last week at Pittodrie, before a ball was even kicked, has shown the kind of discontent between the board, the fans, the manager. It's not a good place for a football club to be in when they're sitting top of the league. These next few games are going to be huge for both, because I said the other night it was important that Rangers steadied the ship, progressed, picked up points, and they've got themselves there, but it's sustaining that for both from now until April. It's going to be exciting stuff.
Did he tell me who his favourites there in amongst
them?
I
said nothing between them.
That's what I don't like about him. He cannot just come out and give you a divine answer.
Well, I'm not a bookie. I don't know.
Just say Celtic or Rangers. Who's favourites?
In your mind?
In my mind, I'm going to still stick with Celtic.
That's fine.
That's all you want. That's all we want to hear.
They're still top. Yeah. That's okay.
I'm sitting on the fence because I can make an argument. I can make an argument for both sides. I'm a bit concerned about Celtic, but the only positive, they've got quality players. Let's be honest, they've got quality players. You look at the momentum over at Ibrox just now, the Rangers away from home, they ain't losing goals as well. I'll go to the wire for me. Celtic need to improve. I'm worried about Celtic tomorrow in the cup tie. I think if St Mirren's ever got to put one over on Celtics tomorrow. So as much as with injuries, they need their players back quickly. They need their signings to hit the ground. Like Kuhn, I watched him at Aberdeen. I liked what I seen when he come on against Hibs. I've never seen him do so negative. The middle part, you've even got Callum McGregor, and I've said on Thursday that I think Callum McGregor is well below par, and I think a lot of Celtic supporters will agree with that. That's worrying signs for me. I like Ada. I've got to say, I think he'll score goals. I think there's something about him. I think that could be a good signing. But you look at Rangers, they're really, they're forward thinking. The manager's been terrific. He's got to tune out the players. They're winning games, they're scoring goals, they're not losing a lot. Momentum's everything for me.
That was even longer than you're
and
you're sitting on the
still
fence.
Did not get to any answer. I think you see when you look at both of their records so far in the league, and both of them won 19. Rangers lost 4 games, okay, and Celtic only lost 2, but it's the drop points from draws that are killing Celtic. And it's funny how things are painted now. Hugh just says there Brendan Rodgers got away with one. If that was Rangers the other night, and they snuck it 2-1 right at the end, people would be saying, wow, Philippe Clement's got this team
that's what momentum does, though, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm also talking about a game in isolation. Every game doesn't have to be about, but what about them? I'm talking about Celtic in isolation.
You're also the
Easter
master
Road.
of the hypothetical, so don't grudge your colleagues the chance to do it
At
as
least
well.
when you said to me who's going to win the league, at least my word was Rangers.
You're a man of your
we
convictions.
give more detail, though. We give more detail.
No,
Hugh,
you give
think.
more waffle. You've waffled your way around it. We eventually had to get a pair of pliers to get out what you were actually trying to say. So the Celtic supporters in the main, I believe, listen to the programme Monday to Friday. The Celtic supporters in the main don't believe that Celtic can win the title.
Well, you don't speak in behalf of them, as you well know.
I'm giving you my answer, Gordon, because I sat in the fence, right, and I still do. Because I went for Celtic at the beginning, I can't change my mind now. I think that you've got to stick with your team.
Fraser Wishart, there is some sort of momentum shift. How big is it? Will it be big enough? What do you think? What have you taken from the last sort of week or so? And you probably need to take the transfer window into account there, because that's clearly hanging over Celtic a bit.
Yeah, it is, and if you don't bring in players and numbers of players, then apparently that's a bad window. Whereas my view is always, you need to strengthen, and if you can't get players that are better, then don't bring them in. But for me, still just Celtic have got that edge. I think 1-11. Like Daz, I thought Celtic would win it at the beginning of the season. I think Rangers are very, very close to them in terms of quality, but I think Celtic have been criticised recently, but it's been really about the performances. I mean, they've still been winning games. I think they've only one draw or something in the last 7 or 8 games, 6 wins. So when you're winning, when you're not playing at your absolute best, I think Celtic players will come good, but Rangers are going to run them very, very close. And the one thing for me that gives us a wee bit more excitement, a bit more uncertainty, in recent years you used to talk about Easter Road and Pittodrie and places like that, and Tynecastle has been hard places to go to. It's not been in recent years for the likes of Celtic who've run over the top of them, but now, even in Tuesday night for Rangers, they outplayed Aberdeen, but it was 2 goalkeeping errors for me that got them the 3 points. They're going to have to work really hard at Celtic dropping points at Aberdeen. The last minute winner at Easter Road, there's going to be more points dropped than we think, so it might just be that one bit of magic, that one mistake that's going to cost them the title. But for me, I think it might go to the last day, Celtic just to edge it for me.
No holidays, no annual leave on that day for you lot if it does go to the last day. David Friel, we always bang on about it being a results driven business. I think we know it's clearly more than that, because Celtic have 7 wins and 1 draw in their last 8 games. There is nothing wrong with that, or very little wrong with it. However, the mood is not the same. So where does that come from in your mind?
I think it just comes from performances, and look, the person at Celtic who speaks most about performances before results is Brendan Rodgers. If you look back at his career, he's always said that he's a performance manager. He's not happy just to scrape a win here and there. Now, Wednesday night Celtic, I think a Sky Sports pundit called it a robbery. I would agree. I thought Celtic were really, really poor on Wednesday night. I thought in the second half against Aberdeen they were really, really poor, but they came out with 4 points. Now, I actually think, and there's been a lot of doom and gloom around Celtic this week, I understand why, because of how bad the performance was, but I actually think this week might turn out to be a pivotal one in terms of points gained, Gordon, because to play that badly for three quarters of 2 games and still come out with 4 points might just prove the difference at the end of the season. There's no doubt Celtic are off it. For me, they just still have more quality at the top end. I also think Rangers' heavier schedule, bear in mind they've got European football to come in, and the fact that Seema's out injured, Danilo's out injured, I think that might just give Celtic the edge. I think Celtic have more firepower up front, and Adam Idah coming in could make a difference as well.
Are we set for a proper race to the finish, Roger Hanna? Everyone always, we say that and we throw it out. Can you genuinely see it coming to fruition this season?
Yeah, I absolutely can, Gordon. I still think Celtic are the favourites, and I say that because while Rangers have been very good under Philippe Clement, this Rangers team has still to prove that it can beat Celtic in a league game when it matters. They won 3-0 in the last game at Ibrox in May last year after the title was gone. But other than that, you have to go back to August 2021. Remember Philip Hollander scoring a header to beat Celtic at Ibrox? That's the last time Rangers have beaten Celtic in a meaningful Premiership game. They've lost both derbies this season. They won at Ibrox in September, and then that one just before New Year when they were down to 10 men with Balogun's red card. And if Rangers are going to win this league, and they could win the league, but if they're going to win the league, they're going to have to take, for me, 4 points off Celtic.
A bit of a mixed bag fixture list wise, Fraser, between now and April the 6th, we always get very ahead of ourselves and look at that next meeting between the sides. On paper, Celtic go to Hearts. That's like the standout difficult away fixture, if you like. At the same time, Rangers go away to Kilmarnock, which is clearly the standout difficult away fixture if the start of the season's anything to go by. So there's not a great deal in it. I think in the last couple of weeks, obviously Rangers have been on a run of home games and Celtic have been on a run of away games, but it's going to be interesting. Do you anticipate many more twists and turns before they meet?
Yeah, I do actually. I think there'll be twists and turns from now to the end of the season. I was saying earlier about Celtic in particular in recent years just walking over the teams. You always thought Pittodrie or Easter Road or Tynecastle was going to be a difficult game. We always talked about that, but Celtic are going and winning comfortably, and Rangers did the same in their championship winning team season. This year it's not been like that, and you're right to add Kilmarnock, where I'm sitting looking at the pitch and looking at the way Kilmarnock play and the quality of players they have, and they've already beaten both sides of the Old Firm as well, so you do get a feeling that there's going to be points dropped. I think Roger made a good point about the Old Firm games and Rangers having to win those, and in recent years they've been absolutely critical because nobody else is taking points off the top two, but this year I think it's just a wee bit different. Even getting their wins recently for Celtic, it's been really tough going. They've had to work really hard on their performances, but you just feel that, for me, Kyogo's not performed to his highest level this year. Matt O'Reilly's sort of faded slightly. Maeda's maybe not been his top form as well. These guys are good players and they're going to come good at some point in the season. You can't see Kyogo going through the rest of the season playing the way he is at the moment, and he does come alive in the Old Firm games as well, so I just think Celtic get that wee bit extra, but they're going to have to work hard, and it's going to be Saturday, Wednesday for Rangers, certainly for a wee while as well, and there's going to be no particularly easy games for both teams between now and the end of the season.
It can never go completely on the back burner, but it is all about the Scottish Cup this weekend. We will go back around the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Han Gordon, DL in the studio. We've got the top team out and about on Scottish Cup weekend. We do love these weekends, it has to be said. So many stories doing the rounds already. Morton have written their name into the next round, so we'll see who they get paired with when the draw takes place on Sunday evening, I think it is. So lots to look forward to there. Let's go back around the grounds. Partick Thistle against Livingston. So yes, it's sort of bottom of the Premiership, heading to one of the better sides in the Championship. Not a lot in it there. Let's get the thoughts of David Martindale ahead of that one.
I don't think there's a lot between probably bottom 5, bottom 6 of the Premier League and the top 4, 5 in the Championship. I don't think there's much in it, and I say top 4, 5 in the Champ. I think the one-off game, anybody in the Champ and anybody against the bottom 6 in the Premier League's got a good chance. You just need to look at Partick Thistle's last result against Ross County, so that'll get treated like a Premier League game for us.
I suppose we kind of said this in the last round, Roger Hannah, so credit to Livingston. Everyone was having the same thought process ahead of Wraith Rovers, and Livy managed to come through that one.
Yeah, they did, and I think that maybe says more about the way Wraith are going at the minute than it does about Livingston. I think this will be very, very tough for Livingston this afternoon. You just look at the two teams, Gordon. Thistle, you know what you're going to get. 4-3-3, there'll be energy, there will be skill in wide areas from Stevie Lawless and Aidan Fitzpatrick, and there's that real goal threat that Hugh spoke about earlier on from Brian Graham, the skipper, up top. You look at the Livingston team on paper, they could line up 3 or 4 different ways. You're not sure if it's a back 3, you're not sure if it's a back 4. Where's Joel Newbley going to play as you're right up top? And you just wonder how many of those Livingston players would actually get into that Partick Thistle team this afternoon. Not too many would be my guess, so I think Livingston will be up against it this afternoon. And as we said at the top of the show, what does represent a shock? If Livingston come here and win, that might be a cup shock.
You spoke about the pitch, a bit concerned down in the corner. Have the players been warming up on it? Has that made it worse or avoiding it?
They have been avoiding it, nowhere near it. It's at the end that Thistle are warming up at, even with a makeshift goal net, they're blazing in shots at Jamie Snedden, but they're keeping away from this area down to my left hand side. It is very mucky. Neil Warnock would love it. I'm not so sure the players will enjoy it this afternoon.
Let's hear from Neil Warnock ahead of the Scottish Cup tie. I've not said that in this show's long history. He's up here eventually, and this is what he had to say ahead of Bonnyrigg Rose.
Well, I've been in their position. You've nothing to lose. It's lovely for clubs like that to get You know, we always wanted a big club. When I was at Burton Albion, we played Leicester City from the Premier League with Gary Lineker and all that lot. Are you with me? And that was like unbelievable, the talk around the place. And so I've had a few good cup runs as an underdog, a non-league team, and then I've had a few good cup runs as the one that should win it. So it'll be difficult. There's no easy game in the cup when they come this far. They're well organised. They've got some good players, a good following. It'll be a typical cup tie. I think cup ties like that are very, very good, mate.
Dave Galloway, I know the Aberdeen fans are sick of people like me mentioning the D word, as we'll call it. Not that D word. The team that they get knocked out from last season, Dave. Does this feel just a bit more secure, just home advantage? Does that take some of that anxiety away?
I think it certainly does, Gordon, and Neil Warnock, everything that he's been saying in the lead up to this game, he insists the visitors will not be taken lightly, and he will not stand for Aberdeen going in just thinking they can turn up and get a victory. I mean, you just look at the opening lineup for Aberdeen. It's a very strong lineup. They're taking this very seriously. They could actually do with a win, Aberdeen, because they have gone 5 games without a win. The last victory actually came in the previous round of this competition. That was a 2-0 win at Clyde, and they had to work hard for that, and I'm sure they'll have to work hard this afternoon. Robbie Horn's underdogs, they are really well up for this one. They're embracing the challenge that awaits them. They've never been in the Scottish Cup 5th round before. There's confidence in their camp on the back of 5 games unbeaten, including a 2-1 cup victory over runaway League One leaders. Falkirk, I mentioned the away support. They're expecting around about 1,000 here. They're filling up that away section very nicely, and the fans, they're certainly making their presence felt today. So should be a great afternoon, hopefully.
Any danger for the Dandy Dons?
No, none at all. Everyone bangs on about Neil Warnock's age, but I was immediately impressed by the kind of performance he got out of them at Ibrox with less than 24 hours to deal with those players. Last Saturday we were studying the Celtic game at Pittodrie, and I said to Mark Wilson, first half, have you ever seen a worse Aberdeen team in your life? And sure enough, second half we got better. Yeah. But at Ibrox, for a man who had only been in the door a matter of hours, he got something out of those players that was remarkable to behold. And he's already stated that he wants to try and win the Scottish Cup, and that will be his Scottish legacy. And today there'll be no shock against Bonnyrigg.
Yeah, I'm sure he does, as will Derek McInnes. Fraser, it feels like every team wants to win the cup. It's just obviously the case, but it feels like of the teams outside of Glasgow, the ones that would think they could have a realistic crack of giving it a right good go and getting close this year, for a number of reasons, would be Kilmarnock.
Yeah, I mean, and they've won both the cups, certainly in my career time as well. So they've been to Hampden and been successful before, and you just have a look at the two teams. Sometimes you come to a game and you get a feeling of this could be a tough one for the Premiership team. They've got to be careful. This doesn't have that feel at all. Cover in League One, and they're very, very inconsistent. They've only got 5 subs. They're experienced players out through injury. 6 changes by Derek McInnes. But if you put this team out next week at Celtic Park, you wouldn't be saying, they're really weakened, they're really short, because like some Watkins is up front. Kevin Van Veen, what a chance to give him 60-70 minutes as well, to get minutes in his legs. It's still with Watson and Polworth. They've got Matty Kennedy playing Finlay at the back, so they made 6 changes and still got a really, really strong team. So for me, I just can't see any shock. And you're right, when you get to that quarter-finals, anything could happen. They would fancy see a Morton at home or something like that. Then you're in the semis, and they've beaten both the Old Firm this year. There's just a good feeling around Kilmarnock, and if they get to the quarters, that's a big step, because already you're just 1 game away from being at Hampden. So happy times at Kilmarnock. A couple of years ago, once happy when Derek McInnes took over, but 100 games later, this is his 100th game. The club is certainly in a far better place.
Yes, 100th game, nice milestone for Derek McInnes. Of course, the shock desired is by Paul Hartley and Cove.
I've got great memories of the Scottish Cup, especially as a player. I think just for the players in the club this week, going away to Kilmarnock, good stadium, should be a decent crowd there. Just you're playing against the best team you're going to face this year for us, so we've got to work extremely hard Saturday to get any sort of result, but it's the cup, you never know what can happen. We've got to make sure that we stay in the game as long as we can, and if we get an opportunity, we've got to make sure that we take it, but we've got to go there and play well and be confident and be as positive as we can.
Great milestone for Derek McInnes, but I'll always be grateful to Paul Hartley on the day that Scott Brown goes to Ibrox, because it was Paul Hartley who prevented Brunei from throwing me into Loch Lomond.
And what's significant about Paul Hartley's Scottish Cup record as a player, I'm asking you three in the studio because the guys out and about at the grounds have actually got a bit about them. They'll get it straight away.
Different clubs.
Okay, yeah, but I need just
three
a little bit
different
more.
clubs.
I need a bit more to that detail.
Hearts and Celtic. And
no,
Aberdeen.
You're right.
Aberdeen.
No, you're right there. But what's the
He
added
scored in both.
significance? Back-to-back seasons, two different clubs. Happy
Yeah.
with that?
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave that one
There
there
we go,
for
then.
now. What about Inverness Hibs? I don't know what was more unexpected, David Friel. The sight of Jamie Carragher in the stands, or the sight of the Hibs players doing some sort of huddle on the pitch during their warm-up?
Yeah, exactly, Gordon. I don't really know what was happening. They just got themselves together. I think one of the first team coaches, it wasn't at Montgomery, and they seemed to be a rousing speech going on. I think that just sums up how big a game this is. Just watching the Hibs fans filtering into the stadium. It's probably going to be a couple of thousand here. I've made the journey up. Huge game for their season, potentially season defining, I think, because the league form has been so poor. Hibs player for player, Gordon, should be far too good for Inverness, but the word I would use to sum up Hibs, having seen them quite a lot recently, is flaky. You never really know what you're going to get. Going forward, they can be really good. At the back, they can be terrible. I think David Marshall has saved them at some points. I think at other points he looked his age. So this is going to be a huge match for them. And we spoke earlier on about Dougie Imrie's Morton team being in his image. I would expect Duncan Ferguson's Inverness team to be in his image today, fully up for it, charging into tackles. And then Billy Mackay, over 100 goals for the club, 35 now, he's the captain. They have a major threat against Hibs.
Yeah, I suppose you don't quite know what to get. You look at Hibs and parts of the other night against Celtic, very good indeed. Had a terrible result at home to St Mirren the week before. Is that the shock for you, Hugh Keevins? Can you see it?
No. But I think Duncan Ferguson's had a reasonable start at Calais Thistle, but the bottom half of the Championship, and bad as Hibs have been, they have shown against Celtic that they're better than that. And I do think that all this huddle business before the game, for me, it's indicative of a team who have experienced a bit of bother and they're not entirely sure of themselves. But I do think they've got too much for Calais Thistle. If they don't and they go out, Mick Montgomery should be looking out his passport.
Can you see it next time Monday Night Football's on? Jamie Carragher just stops Gary Neville in his tracks to tell him how much he enjoyed Inverness against Hibs.
The atmosphere was incredible. Probably one of the best he's witnessed. Good of the lad going up there and watching his son.
Good of the lad to go up there and watch his son.
I like that. I like that. Encouragement. I like that to see. But I think he'll be going down the road a loser to yeah, I think Hibs. The only thing that will go against,
I thought at least one of you would be giving Inverness the chance.
The only thing that will go against Hibs is if they're not up for it, their attitude, not ready to do the battle, could be an upset. But I just feel that Hibs will. I think it'll be tight, but I think Hibs will win it.
I'm the same as Hugh and Daz. I just think the quality of player will shine through. Hibs have got quality players that have underperformed this season, but I just think in a day like today, where you need a wee bit of magic, I think they'll show up, and I think Inverness will crash out the cup.
Similar-ish profile to last night, I suppose, with the Championship team being at home and the Premiership team being away, and not a Premiership team that's flying. In fact, only 1 point between Hibs and Motherwell. This has got nothing to do with whether it'll actually happen or not. I suppose just pointing out that it could be done, as Morton will testify. Anyway, we're almost there. The build-up is almost complete. All the pre-match talking and predictions about to get put to one side, because the kick-offs in the 3 o'clock games are next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are strapping themselves in ahead of a huge day of Scottish Cup action. Let's check what the ACCA looks like then, Hugh Keevins. You're not famed for your accurate predictions, but let's see how you go in our four featured 3 o'clock games.
We are overlooking the fact that I was the only one to say Aberdeen won, Celtic won last Saturday. However, I'll leave that aside and move on. Aberdeen, no muck and nettles for Neil Warnock. Straightforward win. Partick Thistle to beat Livy. Kilmarnock to beat Cove. Hibs to win in Inverness. And of course tonight, Rangers to take care of Ayr by several goals.
I think mine's is pretty much the same as Hugh. I think that Thistle Livingston game will go the course and distance, but I'm going to go for Partick Thistle to go through in that one. Killie to beat Cove, Hibs to beat Inverness.
He's a crawler.
He's an absolute crawler, isn't he?
All fair, he's going like, fancy living.
He's keeping in with his employers on that one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going one different. I think Livy will get a result today in the Scottish Cup. So the rest Premier League teams for me.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. New year, new start. Quit the cigarettes with the smoking cessation programme.
Well, that all sounds a bit straightforward and boring. Hopefully we get a bit more action than you lot are predicting. A bit more drama, a bit more excitement. Who knows? Morton fans will be loving it. They've got their feet up listening to us, watching the scores coming in, knowing fine well they are through. There's only one way of looking at it, Gordon, from a Motherwell perspective. They can't ruin your Saturday.
No, they certainly ruined the Friday night.
So that's done.
I've got to say, right, as much as you can point the finger at Motherwell, I agree with the lads talking about, you know, I thought Morton were up for it a little bit more. They had the fire in their belly. They were ready for a game. You can point the finger at Motherwell being, you know, not as good as what they were against Ross County. But every credit in the world goes to Dougie Emery and Andy Millen, assistant manager, an old player of mine. And they got them well drilled, had a game plan. The lad Oakley up front caused all sorts of problems. Probably should have put them in the lead. The one he hits the bar, I think he'd have been disappointed, but he kept going, and got that second goal.
He occupied the entire back three
himself,
didn't he?
I just thought it's a typical Premier League team, and so that's what I was saying about Hibs today. When you go down there, you've got to have that mentality of going, well, I know what's coming. When the whistle goes at 7:30, you know that guys like Power, who's an experienced guy in the middle part, he's got to put that first tackle in. He's got to set the scene. Of course, you need to be ready for that. You need to be up for that.
Tell me this, Dazzler. If you're a Morton or a Partick Thistle and you get into the last 8, someone said earlier on, Morton will be looking to get somebody down at Capello. Would you not be looking for Rangers at Ibrox and get a fortune?
Well, as a manager that's been there many times, I've got to say that I don't know what you're laughing at, Mark. If you
it's just how you shoehorn that in. He was asking a perfectly sensible question.
People out there will then realise that the answer getting back's coming from someone with experience.
Knows their stuff.
Knows their stuff. No, I would, when you get to the quarter final, Hugh, for me,
you want to try and get to the semis.
But I would be looking. I'm not interested in giving Ayr United money. I'm looking at getting my CV up there, right? So I'm looking at Somerset Park. Don't care who we play. You want to avoid Rangers and Celtic if they're in it, and obviously that's what they're looking to do. I'm not looking at Ibrox. I'm not looking at Celtic Park. I'm looking home draw against the worst team possible to get me in the semi-final.
It's this stage of the competition that it changes. I think that stuff comes in earlier on if you're a proper minnow, but at this stage, when you know you're then a game away from the semi, give us the easiest chance to get to that semi.
I read a piece on Scott Brown today where he was talking about budgets. Always a problem. We're a hand-to-mouth country. You know, there are very few teams. Look at Hibs this week, posted very poor financial figures. It's a recurring theme. I just think if you're looking to progress your club, you know, Rangers at Ibrox, 50,000 in because the Rangers fans think the treble's on. You set the club up. Maybe I'm just putting finance before dreams.
Well, look at this way, right? The scenario for me, if I'm looking at the draw just now, you're looking at Partick Livingston, and if you're Dougie Emery, you're probably fancying one of the two.
One of them at Capello get to a semi,
and then you've got a semi, and if you get that, you get a lot of money. You get a full house probably at Capello in the quarter final. There were a great crowd there last night, I've got to say. Then you've got that opportunity, semi-final, you're one away from it.
No goals early on. Aidan Fitzpatrick's had a shot deflected over for Partick Thistle. There was a Bonnyrigg corner early on. They had a shot that was deflected. Martin Boyle trying to make something happen for Hibs, deflected wide. The main talking point from Inverness is that it's freezing and Duncan Ferguson's not wearing a jacket, because obviously Duncan Ferguson wouldn't wear a jacket. Let's do this, shall we, Hugh?
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Now, put Celtic and Rangers out of your mind. Out of your mind. We don't want anything to do with Celtic or Rangers. not including the Old Firm, can you name the last 5 Scottish captains to have lifted the Scottish Cup?
Good question.
No Celtic, no Rangers. Can you name the last 5 out with the Old Firm to have Scottish captains who lifted the Scottish Cup?
On your marks, get set, go. That is the idea of the first half teaser. It's a race. You need to get a tweet with all of the correct answers on it, and you need to send it to @ClydeSSB quicker than everyone else. Let's see if you can do it. Go @ClydeSSB, and we will announce the winners just before half time in the 3 o'clock games. I can tell you that Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are looking quite blankly at each other.
I think that's a very, very good question this afternoon.
Yeah, it's not a great start from.
No, we've got one.
If you are interested in English football, the early game that finished was Man City beating Everton 2-0. Erling Haaland, he's just not hitting the heights of last season. He's been out injured for a while, and that's him up to 23 goals for this season. He's really struggling, isn't he? Your heart bleeds for them.
And all the stories in the Spanish press that he didn't really like Manchester and he wanted to go to Spain, and he's answered in the very best fashion today.
Yeah, you've got to stay in Manchester. Fantastic place to live. Great.
Where did you live when you were down there?
Quite near Fergie. I stayed next to Bobby Charlton, didn't I? I told you. Hale Barnes, very upmarket place. That's when I had a right few quid in the pocket.
You must have stuck out like a sore thumb.
Oh, mate, honestly, I'm not kidding you.
Your trackies on.
He strikes me as a guy that lived in kind of the more modest flats round the corner.
No,
but tell everybody he lived there.
I've got to say, I had a very, very nice house. It was quite big. And I'm not showing off, but it was massive, right? Like most things in my life.
It sounds exactly like you're showing off,
right?
To be clear,
but I've got a lovely, lovely area. Mm-hmm. I brought it down a little bit.
Where did it all go wrong?
Where did it all go wrong is a very good question, Gordon.
Have we got long enough to analyse that?
Look,
did you ever meet Deirdre Barlow?
Into everyone's life a little rain must fall, and that's what happened. I had a storm.
You had a tsunami.
Remember he went through his period of sayings every week. That was almost a hark back to it.
You've not done that. What was that one?
Into everyone's life a little rain must fall.
It's true what Mark says. You tried to be quite the philosopher for a couple of months, but you've let that slip recently.
Yeah, I've just enjoyed the show. But no, again, back to that. Manchester is a fantastic place.
You never answered my question. Did you ever meet Deirdre Barlow?
I was out with the Casty Coronation Street. Yeah. I get showed round. Yeah,
I set him up to tell the nation another lie.
Curly Watts and I once ended up.
He is a big City fan, isn't he? The guy that plays him.
Curly Watts, yeah.
What could I ask him when he would tell anybody the truth?
Exactly.
Yeah, I always tell the truth unless it's a lie.
I like the thought of that. If there's a cup shock today, just listen, don't worry. Into everyone's life, a little rain must fall.
It's a nice saying. You've got to take that.
I can just hear Bruni saying that at Ibrox.
Where does that originate? Who did you steal that from?
I heard it at a funeral or something like that. It's kind of funeral patter.
Silly. It's words. It just comes from
it's a
the
song.
Inner. I don't know it's a song.
Carter or something like that.
Into Each Life Some Rain Must Fall is a 1944 song performed as a duet by the Ink Spots featuring Bill Kenny and Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh yes, Ella, greatest female singer of all time.
Well, I never knew that. That's
however,
information to me.
There are mixed results here. It's what are we? It's a Henry Wadsworth Longfellow quote as well, apparently.
I don't even know who that is. It's a Gordon Dalziel quote.
He doesn't know
now.
who you are either. Martin Boyle has sliced a shot wide 20 yards out, so Hibs looking to try and score early and calm everything down. That, I know it's a cliche, but that does feed into any cup shock, Mark. You're kind of looking to calm those nerves. That opener for Motherwell, for Morton last night, calamitous from Motherwell, and that's the bit that really flips everything, doesn't it? It allows the panic to set in. It allows Morton to get belief and go after them. And I know they had chances before that, but it's if you can get that early goal.
I think even the most successful players playing for the biggest clubs, when they go into this competition and they come up against a team in a division or two below, I think they always have that wee bit of fear, wee bit of nerves. They know they're better players than them. That's why they're the bigger club. They know they've got better teammates. However, anything can happen. So of course you go in a bit nervy until someone then kind of grabs the bull by the horns and scores, and alleviates the pressure.
Chance for Cove. Romain Borrell, who's the goal machine at Cove, his shot cleared off the line by Fraser Murray. Keeper was beaten. Kelly haven't got going yet with 9 minutes gone.
There's my financial point again.
Kick in the teeth.
Motherwell, who recently made the video, and very cleverly put it out there that they could do with a few bob. Now, going out to Morton last night is a sore blow in financial terms for them, and they not at any stage in the game did they look as if they were capable of even forcing a replay.
Well, we would have gone the distance last night. I thought, I don't know. I am quite cynical about it all, and believe me, I was shouting profanities at the TV. But maybe with another 10 minutes, maybe Gordon.
When they,
was heading in that direction.
When they get back into one, it puts a little bit of pressure. You see Morton, they dug in deep, and all credit to them. They just, they fought for every ball. The writing was on the wall. I think Roger mentions the power incident in the middle of Park early. I look at Liam Kelly early doors dropping the ball, Gordon, and I'm thinking, it's a bit worrying. Is it a bit nervousness, or is it just, it's a casual mistake, whatever it may be? But you just had the feeling as the game went on and on and on, you're thinking, if Morton get the first goal, Motherwell in trouble.
Financially, it probably goes down as more of a missed opportunity though than anything, because these teams, I'd like to think, don't budget for a cup run because they don't guarantee it. But
I remember Alan Burrows on this programme with yourself when he was at Motherwell and saying that very thing, that first of all, they budget for staying in the division, and that's where life begins and ends.
Well, I've got work to do on that front as well. Bit of a blow for Will Fish. He's down injured after making a tackle, which is never ideal there in Inverness. So we'll see if he manages to recover, or if Hibs have to shuffle their back line early on in this one.
See, the thing about Hibs, they've got money coming in. They've got Bill Foley, the Bournemouth owner. They've got his money coming in. There's a new dynamic coming.
They're going to need it, judging in the last set of financial figures this week.
Absolutely. And that's why you have to be careful. If you're the manager, you have to be careful that you're the right guy to lead the new dynamic. You can't. I think it's 3 losses and 2 draws in the last 5 games. That's not really what's required.
Did I read the chief exec is getting paid 350,000?
I think I saw something like that. Yeah,
that's astonishing. The amount of money that is for the role that he's performing at this minute in time. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Hibs, but Hugh is right. Maybe investments just coming at the right time, but they need better players on the pitch.
And with the investment, you need proper leadership. Because
does that take you back to your Celtic days when you earned double that?
Well,
just know how you
got
feel.
A few quid, mate. There's nothing better than going to that cash line. No, you've got a few quid in there.
He's all about the money today, isn't he?
You're usually a man of the people.
See when I get my signing on.
What a way to alienate the listening audience.
Listen, see when I get my sign on fee for Man City, I invite everybody along, right, to the high street. Right, queue up, I'll get the balance here. Have a look at that.
Remember when I asked you 10 minutes ago, where did it all go wrong? Where did it all go wrong? I can just imagine a queue outside the cash machine at Motherwell Asda now to have get a good laugh now.
To have a whip round for me, right? Oh, come on, Dazzler, you fell in hard times. You're a wee fiver, go and get yourself
You must have been a nightmare in your pump, by the way.
My head was like Rogers. I was right there. I was massive.
We're beginning to get a picture of where it all went wrong now.
An arm injury for Will Fish. He should be okay, apparently.
What was the most extravagant thing you bought then in your time? Because you seem
this will be good.
You seem to
you
be
must have done
a big
something
spender.
Stupid.
I can't remember that. But what I used to do was, my first wife, she was with me in that journey, and we used to meet at Altrincham, and I would go and give her cash, and I would take cash, and we'd have a thing. We'd meet an hour and a half later to see what we bought. Just for the sake of...
So you didn't...
go in shops.
This would be like the 80s. So when he asked what's the most extravagant thing you bought, there's not a daft car, a daft watch that you think, what an idiot.
A DeLorean.
No, I'm not big in car. Well, I had a massive house. I had frightening. Honestly, you could play hide and seek, never get found. It was incredible.
Oh, I see.
I think
Give the address.
I think clearly it was his social life that he spent.
Yeah, I live in a 2-bedroom flat
where you see George Best with the champagne fountains and that. That's kind of.
I was running
the
about
picture
with
I've got
Higgy, right? Alex Higgins, the real Higgins, know that John. Alex. Guys, the big time, no, the Gallagher brothers were hanging about. Curly Watts. I get led astray. I
wonder if Noel Gallagher sometimes thinks of you. You know.
Probably will. Sunshine. We had a good.
What was that?
When you were at Man City,
they were young, very young. They were just
Liam Gallagher would have been at school.
No, he wasn't.
Aye.
No, he wasn't. They were very young.
He's 10 years younger than you, Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, they were young. That's young.
So what age were you at Man City? 20 odds. So you're hanging about with a 10-year-old.
Move on.
No, it was the other one.
How old's he?
He's 40.
Liam's younger.
David Friel says that's definitely maybe a lie. See, little by little we will unpick the lies that you tell.
You can look guys like Alex Higgins and people like that. That's who I ran about. That was my circles.
Oh,
stop.
Never going to live forever.
What's the story?
What about you, Mark Wilson? Because you're in the more bling flash era. Do you have a regrettable purchase? What was the first thing you did when you cracked the big time?
The jacket.
Really handsome jacket.
I've told you this before, but it wasn't really bling. But I bought a caravan in the boat, didn't I? Right away when I went to Celtic.
The boat sank.
So I static caravan followed by a boat and it sank. So that was pretty flashy.
With no disrespect to the many caravan owners who are listening, it's just not quite what I had in mind when I thought Champions League footballer. I didn't think you'd run out and buy a caravan. I give no offence.
I get hammered for it. So I went down to Loch Lomond Holiday Park. So I went down there, right, just for a weekend, and we stayed in a cottage. And I got up the next day to walk the dog.
Hungover.
And I didn't drink at that time. And I met the owner of the site, and I says,
I saw you coming, didn't
I've got anything for sale here? And he says, I've just got the very thing for you. There you are. And it was, I think I paid something like, was it 11 grand, 12 grand?
Boat included, or
no?
was that a separate
Paul
purchase?
Telfer got me the boat. So I said to Telfer, I had this caravan and I was looking for a boat. He says, I know a couple that's selling a boat.
Much.
So we went through to Kirstoff and it was only like 4 grand.
That's a dinghy.
By the way, I got done, and that sunk. Aye. So my first trip in it, no boating experience at all. Me and my dad went over, right? Because right across the loch was the Inversnaid Hotel. So me and my dad went over at sunset, right, and gave it a wee run.
Who was driving it?
Me. Right, so we jumped it, but I had one of these outboard engines that you pull up. So we pulled it up because the rocks were there. We couldn't get it back down. We could not get this back down because there must have been a latch. So we're there booting this engine while this tourist looking at us going, these guys clearly know nothing about it. So the sun's gone down. We ended up getting the engine down, getting back. That was just one of the many.
I want to get back to you because I'm starting to notice a bit of a pattern with you, but we do have one of these. It was about 5 minutes ago to be quite honest, but it's all good.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
Bojan Miovski doing what Bojan Miovski does. Aberdeen taking the lead against Bonnyrigg Rose. A couple of divisions between those sides. You would expect the Dons to have a fairly comfortable afternoon, and it always helps when you've got a man of his calibre.
I'll tell you what, you posed the question, who's favourite for the title now? If either Celtic or Rangers had bought Miovski, they'd have put a down payment on the title. I know the same goes for Lawrence Shankland. It's the one thing, someone mentioned Celtic's firepower. What firepower? Kyogo's got 8 goals. James Tavernier, Rangers right back, has got 10. And, they don't have firepower.
I suppose you need to wait and see what Adam Ida's capable of, wouldn't you?
Without doubt, it'd be 2 penalties to the good. However, Miovski would have won the title for Celtic or Rangers had one of them signed him.
He is very good, isn't he? Whether that's the case or not, he's excellent.
I was surprised nobody's come in and burst the bank for him because he's at the right age as well, Gordon. You know what I mean? There's still a return on him in future years. I'm sure Aberdeen desperate to keep him, but I think he's got everything in his locker. Really do.
He's more than goals, but his technique, his first touch, he's got a lot to his game.
He's much quicker than people maybe think.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm the same as the guys. I'm surprised that one of them didn't even just put in a bid for him.
Bit of strength as well. The equalising goal at Ibrox, he's done well there, holding off the defender. The guy's got a lot in his locker, as the Dazzler would say.
Yeah, Bojan Miovski putting Aberdeen 1 up. It's the only goal of the Scottish Cup games so far. So to get back to you, Mark Wilson, something's been bothering me. I feel like you should stop buying or stop owning expensive things. You get a boat and it sinks. You have previously told us on the show that a magician, a pretend magician, stole
Aye, that
an
was
Omega
true.
watch off
Aye,
your wrist
that was a
and
gift,
ran
though.
away with it in
I didn't buy
Ibiza.
that.
And I think you've also covered on the show before that you have had expensive cars stolen from your driveway.
I got my Range Rover stole.
I think
The
you
old
need to-
fishing hook.
I think you need to
door.
like just smarten up.
Well, do you see the car I'm driving now? It's certainly not a Range Rover, so I've learned my lesson.
Is that what it was? The old fishing hook through the door?
Aye, I'd
Through the
left,
letter?
I'd
With the
left, so I'd left my keys on the wee console table
I should
by
laugh,
the door.
obviously.
I
Should
wasn't
laugh
funny
at
when I
crime.
woke up, and I woke up and the car wasn't there, and figured it out that, and the police says we've had a spate of these gone a bit, that they go through your door with a fishing hook, wheat your keys, and
I've only had
away
my
with it.
car stole once. It was a sponsored one. It was a nightmare as well because I got it on the Thursday and I slaughtered all the boys. It was just a guy from a garage that decided.
What club is this?
Wraith Rovers. It was beautiful. It was the Escort, the sporty one, right? So it was the fastest car in the world. Beautiful. Right?
It wasn't though, was it? Like, this is just
It
another
was.
D.
Lewis
Ellison,
Hamilton couldn't
the
have controlled
fastest
this.
car in the world.
Louis Hamilton
Right.
round Monte Carlo couldn't have
Oh,
controlled
Louis.
it. Right, let me tell you now. And the moral of the story was I slaughtered the boys all the way home. I just telling them I'm a top player. They sponsored me. Thursday, on my life, gets up on the Friday morning, my car's away.
Serves you right.
One day
Quite
I had
frankly.
it right. And because it wasn't a garage, it was just a guy that sponsored the club. I went back and I went, look, the car's away, it's been found, it's a write-off. The young lad that stole it smashed it into a bridge, right, total write-off. And he gave me, it must have been a 20-year-old Escort. What are you saying that? I'm thinking, I'm
It's
home
karma.
service.
That, quite frankly.
Karma.
I know I'm going to regret this, but did you ever play Higgins at snooker?
John Higgins?
No.
Alex Higgins? Oh,
Higgins.
yeah, he used to give you 50 a start for 20 quid.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was his.
Did you ever beat him?
Oh, of course, I was a top player.
All right. Shut up.
I don't know which route this show's taking.
well, you know,
I don't know if I believe that.
Boys
I've
will-
never seen you playing
He
snooker.
is actually, do you know what?
114
do you know,
break.
annoyingly, right? Annoyingly, he actually can turn his hand to most sports. He is good at all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
114, mate, Brett. And that's true.
Not a chance.
John Higgins will be listening, and he'll be on this soon.
John
I
will
reckon.
tell you. John will tell you. It's the one thing he will admit to.
We'll find out. Anyway, the reason we're talking about Mark Wilson's thefts and Gordon Dalziel's lies is because there's not many goals to tell you about. But it's good fun anyway. Aberdeen are 1-up on Bonnyrigg Rose thanks to Bojan Majowski's opener.
Brighton are 1-up Spurs.
Yeah, I've seen that.
1-up,
yeah.
1-up on Ange.
Yeah. Grandson's
I
torn.
was wondering.
He's torn, yeah.
So the grandson's a big Brighton fan, obviously, as we've covered, season ticket holder.
Yeah.
But he was a big Ange fan.
Big Ange fan, yeah.
He's
Sorry, torn today, but now that
cheering on
the
the Seagulls,
Seagulls
yeah.
are in front, it'll be brand new.
Partick Thistle 0, Livy 0, Kilmarnock 0, Cove 0 and Inverness 0, Hibs 0. Remind me of your teaser if you can, please, Hugh.
Okay, excluding Old Firm managers, can you name the last 5 Scottish captains to have lifted the Scottish Cup? Who are the last 5 non-Old Firm Scottish captains to have lifted the Scottish Cup?
Great guesses coming in.
Mark Wilson's
I
got
have
4
to
out of
say.
5, I have to tell you. He's got 80% of the answer.
I'm impressed. I really like
But somebody stole the last one, and that's it. You only get 4.
Michael is on Twitter and he's ticking along lovely. I'm looking through his answers going, brilliant, yes, well done, well done, well done. Then I get to Marius Zaliukas. What part of Scotland was he from, Michael? Come on. You're nearly there. You're very nearly there, but lots of people giving it a good go. Mark Sloan would like to throw in Stephen Elvis Presley.
So did Mark Wilson,
Is that
and
one
I
I've
put
done?
a line through it.
Forget it. Get it back out there. Any others that need to be eliminated at the moment? Not too many, you know. People giving it a real good go. Charlie Bair, I think, has fallen down on a couple. Richie Foran.
No.
He was Irish, and I don't think he was a cup winning captain anyway, but he was Irish. Alan Manus.
No.
Also not from these parts. What else do we have? Yeah, not a bad effort so far. Keep your guesses coming. Remember, it is a race at Clyde SSB. Let's see how you get on. We've got another one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal again. Aberdeen again. Majowski again. It's a ball in from Polvara, and you feel for the Bonnyrigg defenders. They knew they would be up against it anyway. but it must be a real challenge going up against someone as good and who's flying away. Bojan Majowski is an emphatic finish. He makes it 2 personally and for the team, and Aberdeen are comfortable.
For Bonnyrigg, it's a bit like Bucky Thistle when they went to Celtic. You feel privileged to be there, and you know it's inevitable that something like that will happen, because you don't survive Majowski. Teams from the Premiership don't survive Majowski. So it's a great start for Neil Warnock. His dream of the Scottish Cup progresses, and for Bonnyrigg Rose, it's a pleasure being there.
22 for the season now for Bojan Majowski, and he's not done today yet either. That's a brilliant return.
And that's with a team who are not playing well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When any striker goes to Celtic or Rangers, 20 plus goals a season is probably regarded as good going. And Hugh's right, Majowski 20 plus already for a team that's struggling this year.
22 in 35.
Yeah.
Good return, isn't it? Because
return.
I was looking at his total appearances, but that included some of the international games. So if we took them out, I think it's about 22 and 35, give or take. And
you wonder what it would have taken to get him away from Aberdeen, because Aberdeen wouldn't have, of course, sold him on the cheap. But what does that really look like?
Depends on his contract situation, isn't it? How long has he got a long term up there?
I think also we spoke about Hearts and Shankland many times, and third place you're looking at about £6 million for Europe. It depends if Aberdeen had given up on third, if you like, at that point, or thought, well, it's very unlikely that we're going to get there. Let's make the money that we would miss out on.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout
by selling this guy.
You look at the points difference from where Aberdeen to Hearts is. I think that's far too great to make up.
No, but I suppose it's probably that's intensified even since the window.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the window's only been closed for two match days, hasn't it, in the Premiership? But I think it's 2026 his contract, so there's a bit of security. But if you're looking maximum money, probably this summer. Yeah,
yeah,
2 years remaining.
Yeah.
However, to stick up for Aberdeen fans, not everything always has to be about selling, and I think that's the frustration for the so-called smaller teams. I think we know there's an inevitability there, but the Hearts fans had to listen to the full month of everybody else saying that Rangers or Celtic should buy Lawrence Shankland, and none of them did.
One of these times, someone's going to pose the question, are we a big club or not? Do we think of ourselves as a big club? We know there's a statue of Fergie outside the ground. We know we used to be the kings of Europe. We know we used to be the kings of Scotland, and Celtic and Rangers were envious of us. But that was decades ago. Are we going to try and get our reputation rebuilt, restored, refurbished? And as you rightly say, it has to stop being all about selling at some point.
To go back and contradict my own argument, though, how do you avoid the food chain of world football? If you've got a 24-year-old international player who comes and goes and scores what now could be easily 30 goals in a season,
you've done your job.
Somebody somewhere is going to,
of course, you've recruited
you start
well
by getting into Europe, which got Hearts a few quid.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Partick Thistle 1, Livingston 0. Are we going to see another top flight team tumble out of the Scottish Cup? It is early, but it's a good start from Partick Thistle, and it is a great strike from Kerr McInroy. 30 yards from goal, smashes it home. McGovern in the Livy goal, absolutely no chance, and Partick Thistle lead Livingston by a 1-0 with 27 minutes gone.
Well, when you're playing Livy at the moment, one might be all it takes. I'm not going to be daft enough to say with an hour left to play in the game that's it all over, but it certainly unnerves the Livingston players, and they really do need to come back quickly. And if Partick Thistle score a second one, then I'm sorry, but it looks like curtains.
He's a good player, Kerr McInroy, on loan from Kelly, but he's goes to show you, the loan market, when you get the right type in, it can work in both teams' benefit. He played most games for Thistle, but I'll do the boy the world of good, and can certainly strike a ball, so good on him.
Bad news for Livy. It just keeps getting worse and worse every single week. You're looking for a result, it doesn't happen, but look, the advantage is it's still a lot of football to play, but I think David Martindale will be a bit concerned just now.
All I can really tell you from the Highlands is that Jamie Carragher's watched his boy getting booked. That's about it. A tackle on Mariah Welsh, and James Carragher goes into the book there. So I'm sure his old man had a yellow card or two.
Oh yeah,
across
he did,
his career, didn't he?
He played some amount of games for Liverpool, didn't he?
More than 700 times for Liverpool.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He wasn't what you would say the most greatest player.
No,
he was
but
just a steady.
You go back
player.
to that bit, Dazzler, about the trenches. If you're in the trenches, you want Jamie Carragher.
I was going to say, you don't. He played 700 games. He's better than just steady.
Yeah,
for Liverpool and won Champions League.
I'm not knocking him. What I'm saying is,
steady was a bit.
No, he was probably what I call a 7, 8 out of 10 every week.
That's beyond steady. I would take that.
Right.
7 or 8 out of 10.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Top league in the world.
Pick me up because I used the word steady wrong. You know what I mean? You know what I was meaning.
We got a remember Martin Keelan's boy was up here as well, wasn't he? Niall Keelan.
Is he a Thistle?
Yeah, he was. That's all I've got in the list of English
Is his boy?
defenders.
I've not seen his boy. Is his boy a player?
At Inverness.
Yeah,
I wouldn't pretend to know.
Is he a midfield?
He's only just signed in January.
Where's he from?
Is it Wigan? I think it was.
Wigan,
I think so. David Field says he'll pop over and tell him that he was a steady Eddie.
Cara,
the Dazzler says you were a steady
Eddie.
Eddie.
Send my regards. I played. Who's that?
That was Jamie Carragher.
I played against the real Liverpool. Let's not be kidding. These guys, you can 700 odd games. I played against the real Liverpool.
I played against him last year in the Masters, Carragher, and he still strolled it. He was playing for Liverpool.
Was that they want before they made it just the Scottish teams?
Aye, so it was Liverpool, Man United, Celtic, Rangers. Carragher played at the back,
so
and he was decent.
This lot that are playing this afternoon, are they the phony Liverpool then? If you played against,
I don't think Liverpool will ever have a team that they had in the 80s.
I mean, the current team's all right.
Champions League winners.
No, you're talking Dalglish, Souness's, Hansen's, all these guys.
Standard of football back in your day was terrible.
Nonsense. So what you're saying is Dalglish wasn't that good a player. That's what you're saying.
Just a different standard.
Danny McGrain, Mark Wilson. Hello.
I mean,
why did I get brought in there?
Yeah, because that just gets to
it was
my
Gordon
argument.
that was having a go.
It was my argument. You're my argument.
Alex Bruce, he was up here. Steve's
Yeah,
boy
he was,
as well. There we go. That's 3.
Big
Who else?
hardy bit of business he was, Alex Bruce.
Came up here, didn't he? Kilmarnock.
Kelly, yeah.
Okay. That's it. Definitely all out now, I think, on rugged English centre halves whose sons have played up here. It's a very niche question, I have to say. But there we go. It keeps us busy.
I'm a bit
whilst there's no
surprised
goals
with
going in.
Kilmarnock and Cove. I thought,
Well, actually, grumbling a bit.
Are they?
Yeah, they are grumbling. Starting to moan at a few mistakes and so on. Not too happy at what they're witnessing, the Kilmarnock fans. Because, like we said, I think any Premiership team is entitled to have high expectations when Cove come to your place.
Sure.
But I think particularly Kilmarnock. Derek McInnes, he knows what it takes to get to the latter stages of cup competitions. They felt hard done by in the League Cup against Celtic in the semi-final last season. They've beaten both. They've shown what they can do. On paper, they're the outsider, if you like, that should be looking at a cup run.
Yeah, it would be a shock. You know, if Partick Thistle do put Livingston out, then we can argue whether that's a shock or not. But it would be a shock if Cove from the Division 1 come here and beat Kilmarnock. It would certainly spoil the milestone that is Derek McInnes' 100th game in charge of Kilmarnock. But Kilmarnock have simply been a decent turn all season long, and you can't go out of the cup to Cove.
Anyway, there's still plenty to go. We're still level, and their recruitment's been lauded, and rightly so. One of them, Kevin Van Veen's just hit the bar, flicked header from Matty Kennedy's corner, looking for his first goal. Got a debut against his former team at Fir Park, but ended up getting booed on and kicked the ball away and get booked, and that was about it. So looking for his first goal. A change for Livy, which disrupts things further. Scott Pittman off injured. Andrew Shinnie comes on. Livingston, remember, trailing by a goal to nil. Partick Thistle in front in that one. Aberdeen 2-0 up against Bonnyrigg Rose. Bojan Mijovski with both. They look comfortable, but nothing else. Nothing between Kilmarnock and Cove or Inverness Hibs. And your full build up to Rangers against Ayr United is still to come. The Gordon DL Derby, they're calling it.
I forgot about that.
Well, speaking about that, there's a couple of stats that
right,
goes with that. Gordon
Have
Dale.
you been doing your research? Have you?
Yeah, Gordon Dale in charge of 4 straight defeats to Rangers as their United manager. But that's not the most interesting thing.
What's interesting then?
Well, the aggregate score in those games was 16-1 to Rangers.
Yeah, but
16-1.
Hold on.
That's only an average of four every game.
Hold on.
That's
Hold
fine.
on. Hold on. This is a guy who managed Brecon that was losing 5-6 goals.
It's Rangers
every
against
week.
Ayr United.
Mate,
16-1.
Gascoignes, Loudrops, Fergusons. I went up against Walter Smith, the greatest manager of Rangers' time. They struggled to beat me.
You should have played a low block.
Didn't sound like a
Advocat fluked 7. I've got to say.
Funnily enough, so Josh,
some of them I wasn't the manager.
Josh has sent me a great picture. What a collector's item this is. Okay, so September 1996, Rangers against Ayr United in the Coca-Cola Cup 3rd round, and you are there. There's the big feature on you because obviously it's the Gordon Dale derby. So it says, knocking the ball into the back of the opponent's net at Ibrox is a fond memory of ex-Gers forward Gordon Dale. Tonight he'll have to be in a different frame of mind as he tries to put one over on his old team in in a slightly less glamorous role as player manager of 2nd Division Ayr. They've battered you there. That's
I got you.
Is that the? I don't mind these people. Is that the?
No, it's I'm reading this from the programme.
No, you. That's what I'm saying. The person who's wrote that.
Was that the 3-1 game?
DL hasn't had an easy time of it at Somerset Park with minimum resources available and crowds of just over 1,000. He may even pitch himself into the action if required tonight. Please tell me you didn't.
Absolutely not. Do you know what? I think. What year was that?
96.
96. Where are we? No, these defeats.
So
96, right? 3-1.
It does a feature of your team. So you've got Robert Connor, Paul Kinnear, Paul Smith, George Duncan, Isaac English, Stephen Kerrigan, Ronnie Coyle.
Did Darren Henderson playing that?
I don't know.
Right, I'm going to tell you right now, we were drawn 1-1 with 10 minutes to go, and Rangers cheated us on that night. Right?
It's a big call.
I'll tell you why.
It's a big call.
Tell you why. 1-1. We're all over the top of them, right? Okay, we weren't exaggerated there. We were backs to the wall. They get a free kick. We set up the wall. Henry Smith, who's now a postman, no wonder, right? That night, he comes out to move the wall. The referee clearly gets the whistle up and says, "Don't take it until I blow the whistle." Gascoigne runs up, flicks it round the wall, and the ball goes into the empty net, and the referee goal. Right? Disgraceful. And we lost 3-1.
Well, it wasn't Rangers who cheated then, it was the referee.
I don't want to point the finger at the
You know what? I think I remember that.
I was
remember that
disgraceful. I was honestly livid.
It sounds like you needed VAR actually on that night. Do you know who
We
else
done
scored
up
then?
then.
Here's one for you. It's a good one because it's very relevant to what we're discussing.
Who scored for Rangers that night?
Yeah, if I think it did anyway. Sure, I saw it there. Who else?
Am I right there with Gascoigne? Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. We were
And
all over them.
they only put you to bed in injury time. But who scored?
McInnes.
Derek McInnes.
Did he?
Yeah. Held it against
I've
him ever
always
since.
known why I didn't really like him.
Yeah.
Derek McInnes did a
Player
good
manager.
team.
Player manager.
I didn't play that night. Do you know I sacrificed myself?
Is that
Strip
not,
on under the
I
suit.
sacrificed myself.
Roger Hannah's reminded me, is that not the famous night you've told the story?
What?
It's the Coca-Cola Cup. Is that not the bike? The bike get given to Paul Kinnear for man of the match, and he sells it outside before he gets on the team bus.
Yeah, he played against. I was
Have you never
stripping.
heard that before?
No. Before he got on the bus.
So you get a bike from Coca-Cola for
I
being
remember
man of the
that.
match. So he goes outside onto Edmondson Drive, presumably, and sold the bike. Then jumped on
Was
the
that was
the
it
team
the
bus.
Ibrox or Somerset that happened? But I come in the dressing room, and after game we played Rangers. I don't know if it was Ibrox, Somerset, and another cup.
Listen, you shouldn't doubt
Yeah,
Roger
right.
Hannah, surely.
And I'm looking about and I'm saying, guys, listen, we were all over the top of them. They're in there lucky. They're happy with their performance. We should have put them out. And I'm looking about and I'm going, we're short of a man. Where's PK? He's outside. I says, he's outside doing what? Oh, he won man of match, he got a bike. He's out there selling it. he's getting
sales pitch for that?
Do you want to buy a bike? And his car broken down.
Did your player manager's a weird concept, isn't it? I know Rhys
I
McCabe's still doing it. Is there anyone else really? Was that a kind of 90s thing that died out a bit, would you
I
say?
always remember Derek McInnes telling us him and Tony Dock when he was at St Johnstone and Dale was playing,
and Tony hooked him. Yeah.
Tony hooked him and says at half time you need to take yourself off, and that was the last game he played.
Never played again.
Did
you play many when you were player manager?
Not really, because you come in at half time, right? You're slaughtering the boys and you're having a bad game, right? And you're thinking, bit unfair. So I took myself out the firing line. I wish I'd played that night.
No, it was a weird one.
My high-profile example. Kenny Dalglish did it though, did they not?
At Liverpool, yeah.
A weird one for me. I think it was my second or third game as Airdrie manager. We were playing against Alloa, and Jim Goodwin was Alloa player manager. He gets sent off in the first half. So slightly awkward.
Alex Neil do that as well at Hamilton.
He did do that at Hamilton, yeah, for the first year.
I think I remember him getting sent off as well.
I was there.
He played when they beat Hibs one day at Easter Road. Remember Terry Butcher was celebrating it at Hamilton, think they'd obviously won the playoff, and Alex Neil played it.
Alex Neil, I was there covering the game for Clyde. I'll never forget it. I mean, you can only sum it up the Glasgow way. He stuck the heat on somebody, and that was that.
Was that 10-2 game?
I remember that
Morton, something like that. Around that time anyway. Livy have got a goal disallowed. Tete Yengi header from Stephen Kelly's corner. Looked harsh, but Nick Walsh,
that's another feature of Livy. They miss penalties, they have goals disallowed. Somewhere along the line you need luck, and the only kind they've got is bad luck.
If they get out the cup this afternoon, this is a long season for them. It really is, and a poor one obviously, because they're relegated. There's no doubt in that. They ain't going to get out of that. So a cup run would have probably kept that excitement going for a full club. But
you're back to the money.
Yeah. I agree with that. But look, it's not half time yet. Still
it's quite open actually at Pittodrie. Bonnyrigg are having a bit of a go. Quite like that. 2-0 down. It would be easy to panic and shut up shop even more. But Barrett's returned. He's hit a shot straight at Doohan in the Aberdeen goal today. So I'm giving it a bit of a go.
I love Neil Warnock when you played it earlier on. They said when he was at Burton Albion, they put out Leicester with Gary Lineker and that lot, as he put it.
Spoke to him a few times in my early career in management. Yeah. He bought a player off as the heir.
Did he?
Yeah, French lad, De Jaffel. Roger Hannell confirmed that. Yeah, brilliant player. Brought him over for obviously France because he was French. He hadn't been anywhere else, and Warnock come on the phone, asked me about him, and we got a few quid for him.
There you go.
So
do you think he would remember you?
Yeah, we had a good chat.
Because when we inevitably unite him and Hugh Keevins as the elder statesman of Scottish football together, maybe you could go along then and say, remember me?
Nah, I'm not going up to Aberdeen and see Neil Warnock. I'm not that bored.
I liked his story during the week about going to Tesco and bumping into all the Aberdeen fans. You can just imagine, because obviously this man, to my right, spotted in Asda. Everyone's got their own supermarket of choice. You know, we don't discriminate here. But he was in his local Tesco, Neil Warnock, surrounded by Aberdeen fans.
He'd love that though. I mean, that is Neil Warnock to a T. He just loves the recognition and the fun and games of it all. But to be fair, he has enlivened Pittodrie straight away, and Aberdeen will be a difficult proposition for anyone, home and away, from now until the end of the season.
Anything else doing? There are some league games down the divisions. Montrose 3, Edinburgh City 0.
Do you want to tidy up this?
Yeah, I suppose we should. Let's finish that teaser then.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The second.
The last 5 Scottish captains out with the old firm to have lifted the Scottish Cup are Jason Kerr at St Johnstone, Sir David Gray at Hibs, Graham Shinney at Inverness Cally Thistle, Dave Mackay with St Johnstone, and Andy Webster at Dundee United.
Well done if you got them all right. Congratulations to you. Rab Beaton, I don't know if he's a relation of John. He was in third place. Daniel Miller in second, and the winner of the first half teaser is Craig McFarlane. Well done to you, Craig. There's an excellent Who Am I coming up after the break. I love this, right, because there is obviously some of your lies are just outright lies, and then some you've maybe just got a little bit mixed up. So Neil Warnock phoned you to sign Laurent de Jaffo when you were where?
Ayr United.
And where was Neil Warnock trying to sign him for? Sheffield United.
Was it Bury or something? Neil Warnock certainly phoned me about the Jaffa.
Because Roger Hanna's trying to do you in. Roger Hanna's saying that he played for 2 clubs in between Ayr and Sheffield United.
Did they go to Bury? Is that right?
Was Neil Warnock the Bury manager at that time?
I'd need to look that up.
Okay. You try and get him front of it.
Roger,
maybe he was just phoning all his former
tell
managers.
Bunny he'd just get on with his game. Where is he? Partick. Just tell him to.
There you go, by the way. This is the first time ever you've outsmarted Roger Hanna.
What?
Neil Warnock was the Bury manager in 98-99.
Yes. Well done.
Take that,
Daz.
Roger Hanna.
Well done, Daz.
He was trying to do you in. He was sending messages saying, he was sending him saying that he had 2 clubs between Ayr and Warnock signing him.
Yeah.
This is it. We've waited a decade in the show.
Go on,
you've
give him
done
it.
the Hanna.
No, I'm not going to give on it. By the way, he had me there for a minute, right?
You panicking?
No, what I done was I went on and checked that. Had a look. I was
you showed him.
Oh, yeah.
You showed him. It's the smartest.
But he knew.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Killie 1, Cove Rangers 0. Marley Watkins right on the stroke of half time. Good time to score, etc., etc., as the cliche goes. But it really is. The Killie fans were starting to grumble. You get in at the break, Cove maybe with something to latch onto. But no, it was an Ndaba knockdown from close range. Marley Watkins there to provide the finish. And it's Killie 1, Cove 0.
Psychology's a great business, isn't it? You know, the Kilmarnock fans have been praising Derek McInnes, one of our regular callers to Super Scoreboard. Simon, he's got Kilmarnock winning the Cup and in Europe and possibly winning the Eurovision Song Contest as well. And then, you know, they have a faltering start against Cove and they're on the manager's back. But that will calm everyone down.
Good time to score. Good time to score. I'll probably change Derek's half-time team talk. I'll still be a bit concerned, but look, give credit to Cove. Paul Hartley's went down there, organised them. They're fighting very hard, but that first goal, that should see Kilmarnock coming out in the second half and probably putting this tie to bed quickly.
So the Premiership teams are having a mixed day. It looks like we'll go into the break with Partick Thistle leading Livingston by 1-0, but Aberdeen and now Kilmarnock have their noses in front. Inverness against Hibs is poised there, so we'll keep an eye on what Jamie Carragher's boy and his teammates can come up with. Half-time, Kilmarnock. It was a late goal after all, Fraser.
Yeah, it was a late goal. We finally got some bit of good play in the 45 minutes when Marley Watkins turned the ball into the net just a minute before the break, because before that had been hard going for Killie. Had hardly threatened the Cove goal. Well, Cove had settled quickly, and in fact, until that Watkins goal, they'd looked comfortable throughout. In fact, were probably the closest to scoring, and that was in the 8th minute when the first chance of the game. Killie defence didn't clear a cross ball. The goalkeeper was on the ground. The ball fell to Rumarn Burrell, whose shot was headed off the line by Fraser Murray. Hit it well, and there was a good clearance by the young wing back. Killie had started slowly, and Cove just began to grow in confidence. Burrell getting into really dangerous positions in the box. In the Cove goal, Nick Suman having a really much quieter day than expected. Killie fans became restless. The clock ticked by 20 minutes. Their first effort goal was in 22 when Marley Watkins pulled his shot. It was a tame effort from 18 yards, a couple of yards wide of the post. He should have done much better, but Cove very comfortable at the back and happy to drop off, allow Killie the ball. Killie too slow in the build-up, and Derek McInnes was on the edge of his technical area, willing his team forward and not happy with the performance. They almost got the opener in 32 minutes. Kevin Van Veen with a lovely back header. He flicked the ball over the goalkeeper from a Polworth corner. It hit the bar and was clear. Then Kennedy got into a really good position. He headed the ball, the back post, comfortable save by Suman. And then Kennedy's cross shot was sliced over his own bar by Will Gillingham, and from that corner Corey and Ndaba rose to head the ball down into the 6-yard box, and there was Watkins to turn the ball into the empty net. They really needed that goal on half time because Killie needed to be far better in the second half. The fans were going quiet, the game was poor, and Cove thought they were still in for a chance. They still have got a chance, but you think that goal will just be the turning point in this game, and Killie will see the game out in the second half. But hopefully a few more goals and a bit better football for the fans in Rugby Park today. Half time at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock 0, Cove Rangers 0.
Okay, what about the Highlands? Inverness Hibs, watched by David Friel.
Half time, Inverness 0, Hibs 0. Not a cup classic so far, I'm afraid. I think Duncan Ferguson's probably going to be the happier manager than Nick Montgomery right now. Hibs have had more of the ball, a fair bit of pressure but they haven't tested the Inverness keeper Mark Ridgers anywhere near enough. Inverness have defended well, they've been tidy on the ball, they haven't threatened David Marshall too much, and there has been very few chances overall. Hibs probably the best two openings of the game in 11 minutes. Luke Amos found space in the box that fired right from 12 yards, and in 20 minutes Eliezer Mayenda burst free. His powerful drive was on target, it was blocked by Ridgers. Martin Boyle looks Hibs' best hope, he's been really lively on the right wing. He broke through just before half time, but Remy Savage, young Inverness defender, did really well to get back and make the block. Judging by Nick Montgomery's body language on the sidelines, he'll be expecting a lot more in the second half from Hibs. Inverness and James Carragher marshalling the defence have been steady and are well in this tie. Half time, Inverness 0, Hibs 0.
Well, interesting second 45 in store there, because I think the Hibs fans would certainly grumble quite a bit if that wasn't to go to plan. Half time for Roger Hannah at Firhill.
Yeah, half time at Firhill. Gordon, Partick Thistle 1, Livingston 0, and it could be just 45 minutes from another Premiership casualty in this season's Scottish Cup. The Jags deserve to be ahead at the break. They started brightly. Aidan Fitzpatrick got a shot deflected off target, then Michael McGovern made a smart save from Brian Graham after Stephen Kelly gave the ball away needlessly in midfield. Livingston hardly seen early on as an attacking force. Dan Mackay did have one angled shot deflected wide of the far post, but then a series of major setbacks for David Martindale. First, the opening goal, 27 minutes, Lewis Nielsen stepping out from the back over halfway, swapping passes with Graham, laying the ball off to Kerr McEnroy, who took a touch and just smashed it low into the bottom corner from fully 30 yards. No chance at all for Livingston goalkeeper McGovern. If there's a better goal scored in the fifth round this weekend, I look forward to seeing it. More trouble for Livingston though. They lost Scott Pittman, injured midway through the half. Andy Shinnie coming on. They then lost new centre half Sean Donnellan to another injury, with Mo Sangari coming on at left back in a rejig in the back four for Martindale. They then had a goal disallowed. Stephen Kelly's corner on the left, whipped into the near post. Teddy Yengi got in front of his marker, boomed a header past Jamie Snedden, but Nick Walsh blew the whistle. He spotted a push. I certainly didn't see one. Livingston very unhappy at the decision, but they did respond after that. Stephen Kelly, a drive from outside the box, it struck Graham and flew to safety, and then Kelly again in added time at the end of the half, a low drive that was turned round the post, a good save by Snedden. Livingston will need to do more in the second half though at a break. Partick Thistle 1, Livingston 0.
So, good scoreline so far for those of a Partick Thistle persuasion. What about Aberdeen? I don't think we're done yet. Oh, in fact we were. Dave was first, but it got lost in amongst the Kilmarnock goal. Sorry, Dave Galloway.
No problem at all. Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. At the interval, the League 2 visitors made the better start. Ross Gray's shot deflected for a corner, and smart Ozadolar's effort was deflected into Ross Doohan's arms. But the hosts went ahead after 16 minutes. Shadon Morris supplied Bojan Majowski to shoot through Paddy Martin's legs from a tight angle. Bonnyrigg almost equalised soon after that though. Gray teed up Ozadolar, whose shot was cleared off the line by Nicky Devlin. But it was 2-0 to the Dons after 25 minutes with a well-worked goal. Leighton Clarkson's cross headed on by Dante Polvara, and Majowski netted with a thumping volley. Bonnyrigg kept at it though, and Ozadolar sent a drive just past the right-hand post, and Bradley Barrett turned but could only shoot straight at Doohan. There's been an open first half, and the visitors have given a really good account of themselves, but at the interval it's the Premiership hosts who have the advantage. Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0.
And we'll do a full roundup of the half-time scores next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Scottish Cup weekend, of course. Let me give you some of the half-time scores from around the country. Not loads of games to choose from in the 3 o'clock matches. Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0 at the break. Inverness 0, Hibs 0. Kilmarnock 1, Cove Rangers 0. And Partick Thistle 1, Livingston 0. Rangers against Ayr United is a 5:30 kick-off. We have some lower league matches in the Championship. Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 0. In League 1, Alloa 0, Stirling Albion 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Annan Athletic 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Queen of the South 0, and Montrose 3, Edinburgh City 0. In League 2, Dumbarton 2, Forfar 1, East Fife 1, Stenhousemuir 1, Stranraer Clyde and the Spartans Elgin both goalless. We will be back with the second halves next.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, I'm often there first.
Whatever hats CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, I'm often there first.
Whatever hats CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
Number 1 for football in Glasgow and the West. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Big day in the Scottish Cup across the country. The half-time break still underway, I think, at most venues. We've not got back underway for the second half. It's a big weekend of sport, actually, it has to be said. Gordon Dalziel, I know you said you were a massive rugby fan.
Love it.
You'll be keeping a close eye on what's happening between
against
Scotland and France.
Yeah.
How long did you last when you got hospitality tickets to a rugby match again?
I was excited. I went along to Scotland-England first ever one at Murrayfield. Loved the atmosphere, loved everything about it. 15?
Genuinely 15 minutes?
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I just was not for me. It was the most boringest thing I've ever watched in my life. So I ended up...
I would actually like to go. If you see it,
Scotland were winning last I checked, by the way, but that was a while ago.
Have you never been?
No.
I've not...
Oh, not only that, what about the Super Bowl? Does that float your boat?
Oh, I'll be sitting up tomorrow night.
You don't have a clue what's going on, do you?
I did go and see the Scottish Claymores at Hampden.
Do you know who does Roger? How much does Roger Hannah love it? Right, I'm going to do something that I usually wouldn't like to give him the opportunity, but Roger, for one day and one day only, you have 45 seconds to sell the Super Bowl to sceptics like Hugh Keevins and Gordon Dalziel. Why should they stay up tomorrow night? Go.
Right, Dazzler, it's a cracker. It's the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. The Chiefs could make history, back-to-back Super Bowls for the first time by anybody in 20 years since Tom Brady, you must have heard of him, did it with the New England Patriots. The 49ers are on a revenge mission. They lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. The Chiefs have got a big quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. He's in $36 million a year. Imagine standing behind him at the cash line. 49ers have got Brock Purdy. He was Mr. Irrelevant, the last player picked in the draft, but he has soared to prominence. He's got Christian McCaffrey by his side, the offensive player of the year. The Chiefs have got Travis Kelce, their big tight end, a record-breaking number of touchdowns in the playoffs. And if that's not enough for you, Daz, it's in Las Vegas, which you love, and Taylor Swift could fly in from a gig in Japan tonight to cheer for her boyfriend Travis Kelce in the big game. I've got the beers and the snacks in for the 11:30 kick-off tomorrow night, and I've already set the alarm for Super Scoreboard on Monday.
Still awake.
That sums him up, doesn't it?
He's not sold you. I thought he made it sound quite exciting.
I tell you what, he came out with some great facts, everything about that.
You just tuned in at Taylor Swift. You tuned in for the very last bit.
Yeah, I switched off when he started talking.
So he's not convinced you?
Absolutely no chance.
11:30 on a Sunday night. I'll be asleep 4 hours before that.
A few bottles of red in you. Anyway, I'm very apologetic to Gregor Townsend. I'm not sure it is my fault, but it's now 2016 to France. So not exactly going to plan there in the rugby. So
what are they playing for?
Six Nations, isn't it?
Six Nations.
Is it?
Dear me. Let's get the football back up and running. I would say we're experts on that, but I'm not really so sure. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. Sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, I'm often there first.
Whatever hats CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Get the help you need to quit with the smoking cessation programme.
There we go. Tune in to Monday night's Clyde One Super Scoreboard, where Roger Hannah will tell us all about the Super Bowl and how it panned out. I'm sure we will have record-breaking listener numbers that night. I tell you who won't be beside him, Andy Halliday, after last night. I can't imagine we'll see him. I can't imagine he'll put his neck out there, and I'm keeping an eye on that Queen of the South result, because if that doesn't go to plan,
we've got shorties.
You lot could be in triple shifts this week, so we'll see how we get on.
Morton fans gave Andy what for last night when he came on. I was listening on the telly, and the minute his wee head with its newly shaved bits came out, there he was.
I got a great email actually, and it's a shame because I reckon it was probably sent to me in anticipation of Andy being on Monday, which, like I say, I just can't see happening at this point in time. So I'll read it out today. It was from someone called Chris, who says, "Hi Gordon, I know this won't be the first or last email you'll receive along the same lines, but for the last few years I've struggled with my opinion of Andy Halliday, having started at pure hatred following his attempts to incite a riot at Capello with his gesture and correctly red carded back in 2016. Andy has proven to be a more than likeable and knowledgeable pundit since joining the Clyde One team, particularly his knowledge of the lower leagues. Apologies to yourself as a good Motherwell man, but with tonight's result and Andy playing a part, I'm delighted that myself and other Morton fans can finally close the book on the Halliday hatred, as it feels like things have come full circle. If you could pass on this picture to the man himself, I would be most grateful, and furthermore, could you let him know all is forgiven?" And there is a picture of Chris doing the you know what gesture to Andy Halliday. So there we go.
Well, as I said at the very start of the programme, 13 years of pent-up frustration will be coming Scott Brown's way, because he made the gesture at Ibrox on Scottish Cup Day when he was a Celtic player, and that took the tie to a replay. The Bruni was born, the tie went to replay, and the tie was settled by Mark Deadly Shot Wilson.
Yes. And nobody cared, because the managers had a square go on the touchline and no one was interested in
Parliament
who scored.
Was convened the following day and incredible stuff.
I should have went along, shouldn't I, to Holyrood and just sat there.
Make it about me.
I got my photo in the paper. I would have enjoyed that.
Levitt and Yuan for Amos and Mayenda for Hibs. So Nick Montgomery knows he's on that. He's staring at a potentially very bad afternoon. Well, still David, level at the moment.
See, when you're a manager and you're the favourites, the second half becomes a bit nervy. If you don't get that first goal in the first 15 minutes, you start to think, "Oh, this could be a shock this afternoon. I could be under pressure." So he'll be looking for a good response from his half-time.
David Friel said at half-time that Duncan Ferguson would have been the happier of the two managers. So this guy Nick Montgomery is really walking the tightrope. You can't have the new dynamic and the old ways are not good.
I know it's mostly about the Cup, but there's a potentially surprising result from League One. Hamilton Accies 0, Annan 2. Willie Gibson on 50 minutes. What it really does is just boosts Falkirk's chances. Falkirk are miles in front, and then Hamilton and Cove are sort of bringing up the rest of the pack, so the top two starting to get quite spread out. Alloa 1, Stirling Albion 0. Taylor Stephen with the goal. That's a league game as well. And nothing else to tell you about in the Cup so far. We will be going to Ibrox not too soon. There's a VAR, which it's not obviously called, for a Scotland try in added time to win that match against France.
Oh, right.
So in football equivalent, that would be very exciting. It would be VAR, but rugby's own version having a look, hopefully.
And you hear all the communication, won't you, in the stadium? That's what happens.
It goes to plan. Right, whilst we let that drama sort itself out, let's do this, Hugh. I like this a lot, I have to say.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Tom Kearney and Ricky Foster. I was managed by Brian Rice and Nigel Clough. I was once nominated for PFA Player of the Year, and I've scored in European competition. Who am I? Played alongside Tom Kearney and Ricky Foster, managed by Brian Rice and Nigel Clough. Once nominated for PFA Player of the Year, and I've scored in European competition. Who am I?
Tough but doable. That's my verdict on this one. Tough but doable. So let's see how you get on with that. At Clyde SSB, it is a race. Hurry up, get in there before everyone else does. Give us a name and let's see how you fare. I do think the old Gordon DL jigsaw puzzle will work out for you if you start piecing it all together. I can see it. I can see it coming together.
Easy?
I think no, none of them are ever easy because I think there's so much to consider, but doable, certainly doable. Even with your high standards, you've not got that yet, no?
No, I've not got it yet, no.
Okay.
But my jigsaw will be always starting
Coming out the
outside.
box?
Yeah, outside. And then work in the way, and you eventually get the picture.
Were you a big jigsaw fan as a
Nah,
youngster?
I was hopeless.
It doesn't
Could-
strike me as
could
something you would be
not
into.
complete a jigsaw.
Concentration
Most
span.
frustrated thing in the world.
You seem like a jigsaw doer, Mark Wilson.
No, not really. I
No?
think I told you not long ago. Leanne got us one with her face on it, which was a joy to do.
Whose face?
Ours is a picture, so you feel obliged to go ahead and do it.
How do you get that?
Get it made up now. Now anything's possible.
Seriously?
Listen,
your big bald face on a.
Hold on.
It's a lovely picture.
I hope my face is never on a picture. We wouldn't get the corners on.
All the advancements in modern technology, you find it hard to believe that you can get a picture put on a jigsaw of your choice.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
You can get it on a birthday cake. Get yourself down to your local Asda, get
I
your
know
face.
I know you can do that.
put on the
I've done
birthday
a
cake.
jigsaw.
It's the same
Anything in
idea.
a jigsaw. yeah.
Imagine, I tell you what, you still with her? Imagine, I'll tell you, any of my wives walked in with that, they'd be right out the door.
She'll be listening afternoon, Leanne.
Anyway, before we get anyone in any more
To see your
trouble,
Valentine's.
let's get back. That's a good point, actually. Oh, you have big plans this week, surely?
Yeah.
Who?
What you, Wednesday.
Bucket load of cards due to arrive at the
Sure,
flat.
I must admit, I hate to say that. I used to send myself Valentine cards, right?
Entirely unsurprising.
Would you find that unsurprising?
But you, yes.
Yeah, just
what age?
I way back. My daughter was about 13, 14. I thought I want to make her think her dad's a real popular. So I used to go and
honestly
send about 3 or 4,
Just
in
deranged.
different writings, and it was brilliant. I felt so important.
Why would your daughter care? Anyway, this is a big one.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
1-0 Hibs, a sigh of relief. You can hear it all the way down the A9. Mailida with the deflected shot, and it is Inverness 0 Hibs 1. It was a nice burst at the edge of the box. The shot looked over Ridgers, not much he could do about it. And maybe a managerial masterclass. Nick Montgomery making some changes at the break, and Hibs have their noses in front.
He doesn't need a managerial masterclass. He just needs to get out of there, still in the competition. It can be the ugliest win ever. So that's a decent start to the second half for him.
Oh, get VAR in the bin. No try. France win the game. There we are. Rubbish.
Quel dommage. Quel dommage.
An injustice.
What bad luck.
We could have said in there, Hugh. Mark and I were both nodding.
Le plume de ma tante est dans le jardin.
Oh, you're fluent.
Yeah. The pen of my aunt is in the garden.
Sorry?
The what?
Le plume de ma tante est dans le jardin.
Scottish rugby fans are not happy. They're calling
Are they
calling conspiracy. They're
I think
furious.
so.
They've demanded the audio, even though you could already hear it. It's not.
We want more audio.
It's not
There must be
going down
audio
well.
behind the
The
audio.
referee's a French supporter.
How do they blame this on Willie Collum?
Trying
How
to
can he
find
get-
out what school this referee went to.
Oh.
Aye.
Having a look to
Notre
see.
Dame.
A travesty, apparently. They're describing it as. Oh, it's not going down well. It is
Can
not.
you see it?
Sacre bleu.
Can I see the incident?
Yeah.
No, I've absolutely no idea what's going on. But anyway,
yeah, okay.
I just don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you. Anyway, France have won that one. So Scotland beating Wales last week, losing to France this week, and on we go. Oh, it's a robbery. Oh, God, Twitter's not happy. Oh, not a happy
Scottish
place.
fans up Marnes.
Oh, and the rest. Who knows what the rugby crowd will be up to this evening.
Should have left 15 minutes into the game when you get through all that nonsense.
11,500 inside Pittodrie today, and they're witnessing a fairly comfortable afternoon. 2-0 up against Bonnyrigg Rose, and a Bojan Mijovski double. Flying, isn't he?
Yeah, but great for him, great for the club. But as Dave Galloway said prior to the game beginning, they haven't won a match of late, and just to have that winning feeling again about the place. And I look forward to, well, it's Hibs next week at Pittodrie, Aberdeen Hibs. Now there is the marker for Neil Warnock. No messing about. You've got to get a home win against Hibs. And even though you know Mick Montgomery used to be one of your players at another club, too bad. If he suffers as a result of it, too bad.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Sheffield United. That's
Yeah.
correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just after they signed your boy.
Yeah, but after they left Bury. That'll be a good game next week. But
Yeah.
I tell you what, good crowd like that at Bonnyrigg Rose. Saturday, cold up Aberdeen probably. 11,000. Very good crowd.
I reckon usually for league games it's about an hour and 15 minutes before kick-off that we tend to get team news nowadays. There's nothing from Rangers yet, so maybe they're mixing it up in the cup, maybe leaving it to the hour before.
However he mixes it up, I think Philippe Clement said during a press conference this week that he had never won all the domestic trophies in the country in the same season. He had championship wins in Belgium, but never a clean sweep, and he wants one this season. So I don't think he'll go messing about. It'll be a team designed to take care of Ayr United.
There'll be a few changes, Hugh, surely.
Does he have that many options?
You just wonder. You would find, obviously, Rangers, unless there's a real miracle for
Yeah,
Ayr.
because even the other night, you Dessers started the other night, but you go back to Fabio Silva.
Yeah.
You know, there's one. Remind me.
He changed the full front three from St Mirren
so
to last week.
Cortez, you know, instead of Matondo.
Diomande come in for a first start.
Yeah.
You would think so.
Perfect
opportunity.
Barisic and Yilmaz. So there could easily be a number of changes. Aberdeen subs: Barron, Duncan, and Sockler on for Clarkson, Morris, and there will be no Scottish Cup hat-trick for Bojan Mijovski. He'll have to settle for the double. Off he goes.
They're saving him for the hat-trick against Hibs next weekend.
No greater feeling scoring 2 goals and getting an early shift. You cannot beat that on a Saturday. I used to love that.
You strike me as a guy that would be annoyed.
Nah, mate.
Want a
Listen,
hat-trick.
I always got a hat-trick. I usually got one, but see if I scored and done my job and I got off early. Brilliant.
You one of those that says, Gaffer, can I go and get changed? Instead of
All
sitting in the dugout.
all day long. I never sat and
stuff.
watched it.
Go get a shower.
Where's Daz? Oh, I think he left half an hour ago.
Dedicated to his craft, isn't he, this guy?
It's only a job, Gordon. It's a job. You know what I mean?
It's a privilege.
It's a job.
It's a dream of thousands of children out there. You were living the dream.
Oh, I love the dream.
Oh, I'm wondering if it's a bit.
That look in your face didn't suggest it was about football though.
How are you faring on this teaser? I'm thinking it's maybe on the easy side.
Yeah, I think I'm
looking at the attempts on Twitter. Not everyone's got it, but
can I get the clue one more time, Hugh? Because
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
not too far away from this.
I have played alongside Tom Kearney and Ricky Foster. I was managed by Brian Rice and Nigel Clough.
Right.
I was once nominated for PFA Player of the Year.
I know who it is.
And I've scored in European competition.
No,
Who
it's
am
not
I?
him.
Southside Strider thinks Billy McKinley.
No,
I know
the
who it
Badger.
is.
No.
Okay, keep
I
your
know who it
guesses
is.
coming at Clyde SSB. Gordon DL, show me your paper. Yes, it is. Well done. He's good at this, isn't he?
He's very good.
genuinely is.
He's very good. I was
I've
sceptical.
now turned over a new.
But-
I now don't even accuse him of cheating anymore. I
No.
don't believe him.
Hey, there's the
Let's
there's
see.
the clue.
There's the eye. There's the pieces of the jigsaw.
The
The
jigsaw.
Dazzler has made a believer out of me, and I don't doubt his abilities anymore.
Thank you very much, guys. It's taken a long time to
He's done that
turn
to many
these
a
round.
person.
to turn these round. but
Hamilton Accies have pulled one back in League One. Accies 1, Annan 2. A Matthew Douglas own goal.
That'll finish up 3-2 for the Yankees.
Oh, I think so. We come back on the cards.
Was I reading that right? Is there 34 points between them?
It will be something
Annan
like
on
that,
16, yeah. Hamilton on 48 points. Wow.
Oh, Dylan Levitt's had a shot saved by Mark Ridgers, so Hibs trying to kill it off here. What can Big Dunk and his Inverness team come up with in the closing stages? Try and get themselves back level.
Scored a nice goal, Dylan Levitt, midweek against Celtic. Yeah,
good player.
Surprised he didn't start today.
Yeah, but he's got that in his locker, Mark. But has he been a victim of the two in midfield that Hibs play, and it doesn't necessarily suit the personnel they've got, and him and Joe Newell would be kind of victims of that.
I think Daz mentioned it the other week there when both of them were playing that, maybe a lack of legs and being able to get about with a two in the middle of the park, and Hibs play with just a two in there. Remember, it's wingers in each touchline, so it's a big old space to cover, and you need to have legs, and I don't think that's part of his game. But striking the ball or goal scoring opportunities, certainly the man you want the ball to fall with at the edge of the box.
I think that's why Hibs looked a bit better against Celtic, because they put the extra man in the middle of the park, and allowed Newell and Levitt to get on the ball, and it worked for them at certain parts of the game. And obviously Levitt gets his goal, terrific goal, I've got to say, but as a two, I just don't think that works for Hibs at all.
Anyway, Dylan Levitt on and trying to make something happen, trying to secure the win. I wonder if this win is secure now.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 0. Aidan Fitzpatrick with the low drive. Livy having a miserable season in the Scottish Premiership, and it looks like they're about to be dumped out the cup as well. 30 minutes to save this cup tie. Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 0. They had been pushing for the equaliser, but it's Thistle who score.
Tells you their season's about hard luck stories as well as bad form, inconsistency, and the all-round feeling that it's a season too far for them. Feel sorry for David Martindale and all concerned, but they don't come back from two down. They just don't.
It's a horrible season they're having. Everything is just going wrong for him. I think Davy's staying away from mirrors, because if he looked at it, he'd probably sack himself. It's one disaster after another, and on top of that, out of the Scottish Cup, unless there's a miracle comeback which nobody can see, you're looking at relegation on top of it. So it's a poor one.
There is no excuse for that. When David Martindale sat there in press conferences and said about his budget compared to other teams, and he was saying about Kilmarnock, the difference was the substitutions they brought on, and that's why they lost the game there, and we've not got enough money to compete here. And Wraith Rovers are Partick Thistle, with the greatest respect, good fan base, great history, but still in terms of budgets, Thistle right there and thereabouts, maybe even below Livingston. So shows how poor the product is on the pitch, because it was that David Friel earlier on in the season believed that this Livy squad still had enough in it to churn out some victories, and they've got experienced players in there.
Oh, was it? I thought he was the one that said they were gone.
No, he stuck by them for a long time. Okay. But he's right to an extent. They've got players who are experienced enough to perform better on the pitch.
Ange is level against the Seagulls, Hugh, so your grandson will be torn on that one.
What happens is he takes off the Brighton top and he puts on the one he wears when he's up here, and his cousins did the same, because they're half Danish. When Scotland went out of the Euros, they took off their Scotland strips and put on Danish strips.
In the Championship, Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 1. Dunfermline having a bad old time at home. Queen's Park taking the lead through Jack Turner,
and that was it's a scoreline. If that scoreline becomes a result, Queen's Park go above Dunfermline. Dunfermline goes second bottom. James McPake goes 8 games without winning any, and the Dunfermline fans, led by Stephen Mill, say, what's happening here?
Not good enough for Dunfermline.
No.
Big club, good club, well run club, but you cannot be losing games the way he's losing games. He's certainly under pressure, and I don't like managers, us talking about they get the sack or whatever, but he's under pressure.
Morton went there last weekend and won 5-0.
Yeah.
At home, 5-0 at East End Park. That just should not happen. But well done to Callum Davidson, made an immediate impression on Queens.
Partick Thistle 2-0 up on Livy, able to make some changes. Graham and Lawless off for Adaloy and Diak, and Bruce Anderson's come on for Dan Mackay for Livy as they try and scrap something out of that one. 2-0 down at the moment. Well, we do have the Rangers team. We said, will there be changes? Andrew McLean has the answers.
Yeah, there is 7 changes for Philip Clement heading into this game. He's really mixing it up. Out go Yilmaz, Lawrence, Lundstrom, McCausland, Cantwell, Matondo and Dessers. In come Barisic, Jack, Raskin, Wright, Silva, and also Oscar Cortez and Mohamed Diamande, who both start for Rangers for the first time since joining in the January window. So it'll be Jack Butland in goal, the back four, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Borna Barisic. The 2 holding midfielders, Ryan Jack and Nico Raskin. Out wide, Scott Wright and Oscar Cortez. It'll be Mohamed Diamande in that number 10 role with Fabio Silva up top. The substitutes, McCrory, Yilmaz, Lundstrom, Dessers, Cantwell, Matondo, Davies, King and McCausland. Scottish football always throws up good storylines, plenty here today as well. Scott Brown, of course, relished playing against Rangers. He now brings his Ayr United side to Ibrox to try and cause a Scottish Cup upset. Of course, Aidan McGeady, former Celtic winger, in the team as well. Former Rangers defender Stephen Whittaker, the assistant manager as well. Not sure it'll be the warmest of welcomes for a few of those, and safe to say I think it'll be the same for Willie Collum as well. The club, of course, requesting following the last Old Firm game that he isn't involved in their matches going forward. Quickly declined by the SFA. Philip Clement making it quite clear yesterday he wasn't part of that process that led to the request, and he wants to put it all in the past. But it is around an hour until kick-off. I'll get the Ayr United team to you when I get that as well.
We'll react to that in a second. Let me tell you about this though.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Game on at Firhill. There's a Joel Newbley tap in. It was a corner which shouldn't have been given. So Partick Thistle are not happy. I don't know if it makes anyone feel any better. Even with VAR, that wouldn't make a difference because the corner would still be the point at which the attacking phase of play begins. But anyway, it was a corner. Partick Thistle not happy. It comes in and eventually it's a Joel Newbley tap in. Is there life left in that tie?
Well, statistically speaking, of course there is. Did Partick Thistle take Brian Graham off too early? Aidan Fitzpatrick got his goal and McEnroy got the other one, but they've taken Graham off perhaps prematurely. Life in it, of course there is, but if Thistle have a sense of grievance over the corner that shouldn't have been, then they have to nurse that grievance and use it to their advantage.
Yeah, a big test for Thistle now and how they hold out, because I'm pretty sure Livy will throw everything they have at it. So that's going to be an interesting 25 minutes left in that one.
Yeah, I think there's still life in that, of course there are. What a lift they should get from getting back into this cup tie. About 5 minutes ago we were all putting them out and how disastrous their season is going to be. Could be a big turning point if they can get an equaliser, even take it to extra time.
I hope
okay,
Roger
what
doesn't
about
have anything booked.
Sorry, what about the Rangers team then? Wholesale changes. I take it the headline debut from the start, full debut for Cortez and Diamande.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a perfect situation for them. If you look at that Rangers team, it's still a very strong side. If you're Scott Brown and you're seeing the team sheet coming in, you're looking thinking, yeah, they've made 7 changes?
Yeah.
But it's still a very, very strong side with, plenty of attacking options in there as well. They're at Ibrox. Should be a good crowd there for a cup tie. I'm not surprised with it. I really am not surprised with it.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect mix for Clement. The fixtures came along at a good time that he can, give debuts to these guys. But Daz is right. The spine of the team looks solid enough when you've got Raskin and Jack back in there. In the back four, like you swap Barisic for Yilmaz, so that's fine as well. And you've got Butland, so solid at the back. And a few changes up, so I don't think he'll have any problems.
Now, if you have brought in Cortez and Diamande to make a difference, a material difference to the outcome of the Premiership title race, then they must surely have the ability to make a material difference to a game against a team from the bottom half of the division beneath you. On that simple logic, I would say that he's picked the right team and shown that there is strength and depth for him in the closing weeks of the title race.
A very minor point, but in the previous round against Dumbarton away, Robbie McCrory played.
I was just going to pick that.
And I just wonder, at home to Ayr next round, I sort of thought that maybe would still be the opportunity for him, but Jack Butland's in.
Yeah, I was actually going to that point, Gordon. I'm surprised.
So
at
you
that.
and I are on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we're putting over it. Well, it was spending that 3.5 minutes in the chamber together. I think it just bonded us. I missed you yesterday. I was back in.
That's a cryo chamber, by the way. That we went in.
I was thinking, what sort of chamber?
During the week, in case anyone missed the midweek show. Anyway.
3.5 minutes when you're cold's a long time. Let me tell you.
So
but
back to Robbie McCrory.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I thought he maybe have just, especially at Ibrox, where I think that we'll all agree we expect Rangers to dominate most of the ball tonight. They've still got that defensive solidness of the back four. I know Barisic is in, but I like him. So yeah, a bit surprised they've kept Butland.
People have gone on all week about Butland and Gareth Southgate and the chance of coming in at the 11th hour to the England squad for the Euros. And I think Jack Butland might have wanted to play. The rapport that he's built up with the Rangers supporters has been quite something to behold. Apparently he was leading the sing-song at the end of the Aberdeen win midweek because he understood the significance of that result in terms of the title. So I think I've never liked the idea of a cup goalie. Why should you have a cup goalie? You have your best goalie in the same way you'd have your best right back or centre forward.
But we've covered this in the past. I know you don't like it, but given that teams do it, and given that Rangers did it in the previous round, I think that's more where the story is, isn't it? Not maybe, like what's changed. I mean, like Jack Butland, England, it's not going to be influenced by a home game against Ayr in the cup.
But the one thing we do know in a very short space of time about Philippe Clement, he'll do exactly what he wants to do, what he thinks is best, and there'll be no one to question anything. No one inside Ibrox, from the boardroom to the dressing room, no one will question what Philippe Clement wants to do.
Yeah, I agree with that, Hugh, but the argument against it is it wasn't like you're looking to throw in a young goalkeeper and experience. This guy's played against Celtic at Ibrox, and he's played in the last round. Look, I can totally understand why he's went with Butland again. I don't think it's got anything to do with the England thing, because is MD going to come up and watch Butland against Ayr this afternoon? I would very much doubt that. I don't think you're going to learn a lot. But the managers decided, no, I'm putting my goalkeeper in there, number one. That's it's him that picks the team. But I keep going back to it's a very strong Rangers side.
Yeah, Dunfermline 0, Queen's Park 2, Dom Thomas. It's not looking good for the Powers.
No, certainly not. But Callum Davidson, what a difference he's made. Because that result would take him above Inverness as well. Same amount of games played.
And on to the same points as Ayr United, to be, I don't know the goal difference situation, but they could even go as high as 6th. So for Callum Davidson, the manager, Don Thomas is the captain of the club. The turnaround has been swift and positive.
I think we're going to get an Ayr United team from Andrew McLean very soon as well. I'll just double check that he's got that information over, and then we'll find out who Scott Brown has picked to play. Going to be an interesting afternoon, as we said. It's not just about the cup, but there is that Scott Brown factor. Aidan McGeady, Willie Collum back involved in Rangers games as well. Andrew, who's been given the nod by Scott Brown?
Yeah, I think it is only one change. There was all that talk about cup goalkeepers. It is the goalkeeper that's changed for Ayr United as well. Charlie Albinson, who normally plays for them, drops to the bench, and Robbie Much comes in. So he will start in goal. The back four: Nick McAllister, Sean McGinty, George Stanger and Paddy Redding. A midfield four of Logan Chalmers and Jamie Murphy on either side. Ben Dempsey and Roy Silla, the two central midfielders. Mark McKenzie and Anton Dowds up top. The substitutes: Albinson, Sanders, McGeady, Tomlinson, Musonda, Willoughby, McHugh, Bryden and Guthrie.
Go. Ayr United have got a cup keeper in, but it's an interesting team chosen by Scott Brown. It's usual fare. Gordon Dalziel try and sit and protect and try and frustrate Rangers and hope that they miss some chances.
Yeah, and I think what he's got to get the message over to his players quite simple, and it's easy to say but harder to do. When you get possession of the ball, try and keep it as long as you possibly can. Because if you keep giving it away cheaply and just kicking up the park and invite Rangers on top of you, let me tell you, from experience, it's a long 90 minutes at Ibrox. So they've got to be brave, they've got to go out there, they've got to be disciplined, and hopefully they can get a little bit of luck, keep themselves in the game as long as they possibly can. But you can only see Rangers winning that comfortably.
Was that the advice he gave? 8th April 2000. Keep the ball as long as you can.
Yeah, be brave.
At 7-0, that was.
No, that was a hand-in one. No, I went for all-out attack. That, in all my years of management, I think that was my only mistake.
Your only mistake?
Yeah, tactically.
Oh, here United fans, get your messages in.
Well, if you go and look at my record there, how successful I was. But that was a big mistake. I went toe-to-toe with Little Dick Advocate, and I decided I'm as good as you.
God, you mentioned these.
And all of a sudden, it just went wrong. Yeah. But into everyone's life, a little rain must fall.
Correct.
Marconde's on for Mariah Welsh. Hibs would be looking to try and not leave anything to chance here.
Yeah,
try and
exactly.
get a bit more daylight between themselves and Inverness.
Yeah, you don't want a 90th minute calamity and then extra time. So, as I say, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You just have to get back down the road in the cup draw tomorrow night.
Oh, Partick Thistle have hit the post. That was the chance to put it out of reach there, because Livy had been causing some problems with the set pieces since pulling it back to 2-1. I think Kelly could maybe do with something else. Same scenario as Hibs. They've made changes. It was a while ago now. 10 minutes ago, Van Veen came off, looked a bit rusty according to Fraser Wishart. Maybe that's understandable, but he went off with Watson to be replaced by Kyle Vassell and Liam Donnelly. How are you doing out there on this teaser, Hugh?
Well, I have played alongside Tom Kearney and Ricky Foster. I was managed by Brian Rice and Nigel Clough. I was once nominated for a PFA Player of the Year award, and I have scored in European competition. Who am I?
The vast majority of you getting that right now, actually. Not got a whole long list of wrong answers to try and eliminate. Would you have got it without Gordon Dalziel's help, Mark?
No, I've got to be honest, I don't think I would have.
I think that's one of the easy ones.
Think so?
Yeah. I always tell you what way to go, but you don't listen to me.
Give me one clue that you think is the real selling point.
The managers he played under.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that kills it.
Okay, well, we will see. Right, no more goals to tell you about at the moment. We've given you Rangers and Air Team news. We said the next goal in that Hibs game could be crucial. Which way has it gone?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's gone the way of Hibs, and it's Martin Boyle. He's come back from international duty, finds himself in the Highlands now. He's clean through, rounds Ridgers with a nice composed finish, and that is a loud sigh of relief from the Hibs fans, from Nick Montgomery. Martin Boyle makes it 2-0, and that should be that.
Oh yeah, they're in the draw tomorrow. They now have to hope that they avoid Hearts, because the way things have been going for Hibs, you don't want another caning from Hearts. So they've done well. There was a lot on their shoulders today. They were still feeling aggrieved by what happened against Celtic on Wednesday, but they've handled it all well.
Oh, same scenario. We said the next goal at the Kilmarnock's game would be vital. What's happened here?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it is the Premiership team again. It's Dan Armstrong having a great season. A left-footed shot, 14 yards out. He's just on as a sub. What a way to make an impact. And with about 9 of the 90 to go, it's Kilmarnock 2, Cove Rangers 0, and they will join Hibs, I'm sure.
Without doubt. So you'll have Kilmarnock, Hibs, Morton for sure. Rangers will make it 4. And Aberdeen 5, Partick Thistle 6.
Still a bit of mileage in the Partick.
I don't want to upset any Partick Thistle fans, but it would be quite nice to just send Roger Hannah to extra time, wouldn't it?
Ah, brilliant.
Extra time tonight, up late for the Super Bowl tomorrow, in here on Monday.
He's got a full shift this weekend, Roger. I've got to say.
Can see him sitting there with a hat, with the beers in it, just at Super Bowl with the bowl and nachos.
The only person in the living room, because the rest of the families went to bed.
He's the straw coming down,
so he doesn't need to move. Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's got his strip on. He wears a strip.
Would he go for a foam finger?
Imagine that.
Think so?
Yeah. A full finger.
And scooshing squirty cream into his mouth, you know, or cheese. That's a kind of
Big John
image I've got.
Candy. That's it, isn't it? Big John Candy and the Hannah man sitting there.
I don't think you'll like that.
The jammy bottoms halfway
Is that the
down.
guy from the Kenosha Kickers?
Yeah.
The polka king of the Midwest.
Jammy bottoms to there. There you go. I'm going to the toilet.
I think I have told you this before, and you just inspired me. You know, you and I share the same hometown, and it's a wonderful place, but it has
this is great.
Has a varied experience. If you get into the town centre, you sometimes see things you might not expect to see. And I once saw two gentlemen swaggering down the street together. I never told you this. And they were walking side by side, great swagger, and one of them had a can of squishy cream in his hand, and he was just leaning back and going into his own mouth, and then his pal goes, "Here, here's some of that," and he just leans over.
Oh no!
He just leans over into his mate's mouth, and they just carry on walking down the street.
That's
unique. You know, like you would like give somebody a sweet or something like that.
Give me some of that, and he scooshes it. Oh, that's yeah.
There's not a person.
You know where I mean? See, just next to Witherspoons.
Oh no!
That
Listen,
street.
if I ever feel down, I go down, have a wee coffee, and I just sit and I watch a characters.
People watch.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's but you never do the old squishy cream.
No, I've never. I'm not squishy.
Seriously,
I will scoosh it if I'm making some sort of dessert. I won't scoosh it into my mouth.
Oh, I don't. I was watching the telly the other night there just for a couple of squishy.
No way.
On my life.
That's
honestly, you're disgusting.
Behaviour.
Yeah, because I'm on obviously my calorie thing, so I take the 10 cal jellies, right? Squishy cream.
That's disgusting.
But then once you're finished, you have to have a couple of squirts.
That is disgusting.
By the way, one of my mates, who's good to see that they still listen to this nonsense, Colin, has sent me a message. He was party to this. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. That does add to the detail. I'm disappointed in myself. It was
have
early.
been a late night.
Did you know? You told me a story about you had an episode with cream, but pouring cream that went wrong. No, never mind. Right, hold on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The Hannah man's in for a long weekend. It's Joel Nibley again. It's a solo goal. It's a high finish across Jamie Snedden into the net, and maybe there is still time for a winner, but as things stand, we would head to extra time. Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 2. What a game.
Well, fair play. We had written them off totally, and they have come back from a 2-goal deficit. All credit to them, and momentum with them. And Partick Thistle aggrieved at the first goal, shocked by the second goal. At least 10 minutes left to play. Maybe the Hannah man will get out of there.
He does have a dinner reservation.
Oh, I knew it.
Stressed out. He's worried.
Oh, well, just let him go. Roger, a bit of advice. Do what I done at Livingston. Plug. Oh, signals down. Away. I couldn't sit through an hour and a half.
So we've gone from discussing squishy cream on your part to destroying the machinery.
I had to get out, Hugh. I couldn't sit for an hour 30 minutes.
He does have a spectacular story about pouring cream, but it's just not for the show.
I have a feeling it'd be unwise to say any more.
Because like the story,
we wouldn't be on Monday.
Because the story itself, like. It would work with squishy cream, but it's his decision to use pouring cream over squishy cream that just makes it mind blowing. But we'll leave it there. There's been a nice I say a nice change because Hibs are out of sight. Chris Cadden has come on, hasn't played since May last year, an Achilles injury. Remember, I think it was the last day of the season, just sort of playing out it was the Edinburgh Derby, maybe not the last day, but yeah, right at the end of the season. Kind of 20 minutes of the season to go, strolling around. Achilles, May, hasn't played since. I'm sure there was some sort of story like he missed his own stag do in the summer or something like that as a result of how bad the injury was. So great to see him back in action there for Hibs. Livy have got their tails up. They're actually the ones pushing for a winner.
I can imagine, because it very often goes that way when you've been in easy street and suddenly you're pegged back. All the nerves are with you, so that is, what's the goal left? Probably about 10 minutes, including stoppages.
Well,
I think you might be right. I think there might be a winner either way there.
Well, at the end of the day, I think David Martindale stand there thinking, I'll take extra time all day long, because 20 minutes ago they were out the cup. They're still firmly in it. I'd written them off at 2-0, but the minute that goes to 2-1 and it's a Premier League team, no matter how bad they are, a little bit of nerves creep
Right,
in.
what we'll do then, let's leave room for late drama there, Hugh.
Yep.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Tom Kearney and Ricky Foster. I was managed by Brian Rice and Nigel Clough. I was once nominated for the PFA Player of the Year award, and I've scored in European competition. I am David Templeton.
David Templeton. Well done if you got that right. Chucky did. He was third fastest. Well done to you, Chucky. Scott McDougall in second place, but the winner, faster than everyone, was JC. Well done, JC. You know your stuff, and you have the bragging rights whatever you're up to this weekend. The winner of the second half teaser. I like to think there is someone out there who would use that. Go to the pub tonight, like, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I won the second half teaser on Super Scoreboard this afternoon.
Do you think people do that?
I just think you might as well, because there's bound to be. You guys are very popular. I actually didn't mention this on the show. Don't like to brag.
Yeah.
I mean, they dished out the latest set of listening figures last week. Somehow this show is incredibly popular, so the chances are
squishy cream.
You would be surrounded by someone who would say, I heard that, I heard it,
Yeah.
I heard you, JC.
But the biggest problem you've now got is you cannot go to the toilet, because you know they're got to give you what for. And even
for bragging about it.
Yeah, they're
No,
got.
I disagree. I'd be using that.
What about him?
No, I think it's
There aside.
The mother will have a tourist board.
A tourist board?
Yeah, he leads it. He's the mayor.
Yeah, but I come through Motherwell, you come with me.
You've done the most from Motherwell since Willie Pettigrew.
Most damage to the Motherwell tourist board.
I think he is like in the list of like sights to see, like he would be one, because he like moves around. But see if you were ever just passing through and you just decided to stop off, I think there's a good chance you would just
going to
see
Dazzler.
him. You would just see him just milling around, just doing his stuff.
What he needs is, one of the blue plaques when you go to London. You see them on the houses.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon Dale lives here on your block of flats,
I'm not-
just by the wheelie bins.
If you want to meet me, just come in. As I say, I visit Asda twice a day.
It'd be great though, a blue plaque which says Gordon Dale squished cream here.
Listen, I don't think so.
Poured cream, remember.
Hamilton Accies, we said that Hamilton Accies were 2-0 down at home to Annan, and they have levelled in the 90th minute. Jake Davidson, Hamilton Accies 2, Annan 2. The tension at Firhill, though, I can sense it from here, because Mark Wilson, what are you doing there? Are you trying to win it? Are you holding on for extra time? Are you caught in between?
I think with the sound of the way the game's going, I think if you're Partick, you're holding on for extra time just now, because you've already taken Brian Graham and Stevie Lawless on. You've put on, was it Adaloy and Diak? So you've went with two big guys up front. You've maybe taken away a bit of your width as well. Maybe. Oh no,
we've got a late goal.
Oh no.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
But it's in Inverness, where Hibs have scored a third to round it all off. Very comfortable. Martin Boyle with the assist this time, and Ellie Yuan with the goal. A tap in, and there we are. That's how you answer it before the day. You all predicted Hibs to win, to be fair, but everyone was saying could be close, could be nervy. Inverness 0, Hibs 3, down the road.
Down the road, in the draw. Have a relaxing night, what's left of it, by the time you get back to Edinburgh, and then, as I say, hope that you avoid Hearts.
Morton were first through, second team through. Aberdeen, Dave Galloway.
Full time, Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0. The League 2 visitors actually made the better start to this one, but the hosts went ahead. After 16 minutes, Shayden Morris supplied Bojan Majowski to shoot through Paddy Martin's legs from a tight angle. Bonnyrigg almost equalised soon after that, though. Gray teed up Ozadola, whose shot was cleared off the line by Nicky Devlin. But it was 2-0 to the Dons after 25 minutes. with a well-worked goal. Leighton Clarkson's cross headed on by Dante Polvara, and Majowski netted with a thumping volley that took a slight deflection. Bonnyrigg kept at it though, and Ozedola sent a drive just past the right-hand post. All in all then, an open first half, and that continued after the break. Bojan Majowski's free kick was deflected wide, and at the other end Ross Gray had a pop from the edge of the box, but Ross Doohan turned the ball behind. Both teams on the attack, and play swung from end to end. Nicky Devlin's goal-bound effort was cleared over the bar by Neil Martinuik as the Dons went close to a third goal. At the other end, Dean Watson and Martinuik had shots saved by Doohan. So job done by Neil Warnock's men in a decent Scottish Cup tie at Pittodrie. The visitors worthy of plenty praise for making a decent game of it, but it ended Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0.
Aberdeen are safely through. Anywhere else? Nothing yet. Oh, Jamie Steddens had to make a save from Bruce Anderson. Livy could have nicked it there. Right at the death, it looks like we'll head to extra time. Kilmarnock are through though, Fraser.
Yeah, they are. Kilmarnock 2, Cove Rangers 0. To be honest, not a really great game to watch, but job done by Kelly. Never felt they were in danger, but they were far from their best today. Goals from Watkins and Armstrong, the difference in the end of the game. Really poor first 45 minutes. Cove doing their job and denying Kilmarnock any chances. In fact, Cove could have taken the lead in 8 minutes. Kelly couldn't clear a Yule cross with Will Dennis, the keeper, on the ground. Burrell, goal-bound shot was headed off the line brilliantly by Fraser Murray. But in 44 minutes came the much needed opening goal for the home side. Very simple. Polworth with the cross into the box, headed down by Ndaba and turned home by Marley Watkins. Of course, we hope for better in the second half. It was a bit better, but not much. Kelly started the second half brighter than the first spell of pressure. Van Veen headed, and Murray crossed just wide. Kennedy tried his luck from 25 yards and it dipped over. In general, the game didn't improve, and as long as it stayed 1-0, you felt Cove were just in the game. A few breaks forward. Mitch Meggs' control let him down in the box with half a chance, and Burrell had a shot from 16 yards blocked really well by Finlay, and the experienced Paul McGowan came on as Paul Hartley looked to get the equaliser. Momo Nyang almost created that with a low cross into the box, caused real problems. He drove it into the 6-yard box, it hit a few players that fell nicely into the hands of Dennis rather than the waiting Cove strikers. Really fortunate for Kelly, but 81 minutes the game was over. Kennedy got to the byline on the left. His low cutback was dummied well by Fraser Murray and met sweetly by sub Dan Armstrong to score with his left foot from about 14 yards. He was just on as a substitute. Murray then had a glorious chance of his own. 1 minute later he's through 1-1 on Suman, but he blazed over the bar. And then in the final seconds, Kyle Vassell was clean through on the goalkeeper. His dink hit Suman, and as the ball dribbled towards the line, it looked like it was going to the back of the net. The big Cove keeper got a hand to it to keep it clear, but injured himself in the process. I don't think Paul Hartley would be too unhappy. His players did their job well, but in the end, Kelly it is in the quarter-final draw tomorrow, and the fans will be dreaming of a trip to Hampden at the end of the season. Full time at Rugby Park, Kilmarnock 2, Cove Rangers 0.
No dramas, no shocks. The big teams, so-called, all getting through today. Morton knocked out Motherwell last night, of course. We don't know about the shock, but there's certainly drama at Firhill. 5 minutes added on. Remember, Partick Thistle were 2-0 up. Livingston are level. It is 2-2, and we are heading rapidly towards extra time. We'll keep an eye on that one, but for the meantime, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, Hibs, all through, all taking care of business. You professional jobs, that's how they'll get referred to, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The important things to be in the draw. Fascinating potential draw. You know, you could have an Edinburgh derby, you could have a Glasgow derby, but Celtic have a big afternoon ahead of them. Be interested to hear the callers tonight, what they think about that Celtic game tomorrow in Paisley, because it's a cobbled together back four that Celtic will have.
It's 5-5 and we're still getting goals.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
But it's just a consolation for Inverness. Doran with a nice strike. It's Hibs still 3-1 in front now, so a consolation, nothing more than that for Inverness. They're heading out, Hibs are heading through. It is 3-1 in that one, and not finished yet. We must be getting close. Roger Hanna's dinner reservations getting pushed back. It's going to get tense there.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you wouldn't want to lose a goal now. I think both sides, I'll be quite happy to go to extra time.
Let's go full time at David Friel's game in Inverness.
Yeah, full time, Gordon. Inverness 1, Hibs 3. Good second half. really competitive job done for Hibs. They deservedly to take a place in the quarter-finals. They were really good in that second half. Hibs made it a tough afternoon for about an hour, but Hibs quality told in the end. Maizan Mailida, Martin Boyle, Eli Yuan scored the goals. Aaron Dorn got late consolation for Inverness, and Nick Montgomery's players sent their fans home happy. They're singing to my left just now. Hibs had the best of the first half, didn't really trouble Mark Ridgers at all. The second half was a totally different story. Eli Yuan, Devlin Levitt, they come on at the break and they sparked a really improved performance. Hibs laid siege to the Cali Thistle goal for a spell really. Mailida deflected shot gave them lead in 55 minutes. Richards saved from Levitt, saved from Yuan. Hibs chased that second goal. Martin Boyle, he was really good for Hibs. He also fired wide. Inverness were offering really little in attack, but Cammy Kerr from a tight angle did hit the bar with a header. At that stage Hibs were maybe a bit worried, but then in 79 minutes Martin Boyle killed the game. Morgan Boyes on as a sub. He totally misjudged David Marshall's long clearance. Boyle raced through, rounded Mark Ridgers and slotted in. Boyle, he was everywhere. He then set up Eli Yuan for a third with a sprint down the right and across for a simple tap in. There was also a boost for Hibs. Chris Cadden returned from his first appearance since May. He was been out for Achilles injury. Great to see him back. That was a great day for Hibs. They're in tomorrow's draw, but Inverness did get the final say. Aaron Dorn, the veteran Inverness player, curled a beauty past David Marshall, but it finishes Inverness 1, Hibs 3.
Hibs safely through then, even though that late Aaron Dornan strike gave the Inverness fans something to smile about. It's full time, it's not done, but the 90 minutes is over. Roger Hannah.
It's not done yet, Gordon, but it's been a terrific Scottish Cup tie for Hill. Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 2 are heading to extra time and possibly penalties. The Jags 2 up, they took the lead after 27 minutes. Cairn McInroy smashing home from 30 yards, no chance at all for goalkeeper Michael McGovern. Livingston, it was a dreadful first half. They lost Scott Pittman and Sean Donnellan to injury. They had a Teti Yengi header ruled out by referee Nick Walsh for a shove in the box. Stephen Kelly twice was denied, first with a shot that struck Brian Graham and flew to safety, and then a brilliant save and added time at the end of the first half by Jamie Snedden. They were undeterred. They started the second half brightly and pushed for an equaliser, but then they were caught in the break for 2-0 after 61 minutes. Aidan Fitzpatrick cutting in from the left, a fierce shot. It took a deflection and flew under goalkeeper McGovern. At that stage you wouldn't have given anything for a Livy comeback. Thistle even took off Brian Graham and Stephen Lawless, but then a lifeline in 66 minutes, and controversy underpinning this one as well. It was a corner given by referee Walsh. It was never a corner. It came off substitute Bruce Anderson last. It should have been a Jags goal kick. The corner came in though. Aye Obalai won the header. It was blocked on the line, but there was Joel Newbley to poke it home from point blank range for 2-1. Obalai almost equalised from the next corner, knocking past it at far post. Then on the break, Thistle should have killed the game. Substitute Tommy Adaloy hitting the post and the ball rebounding past McGovern to safety. But it was 2-2 on 82 minutes. Andrew Shinnie passing the ball to Newbley, and then a lovely solo run and finish high past Snedden for 2-2. The Jags then took off goal scorers McInroy and Fitzpatrick. That means they'll face the extra 30 minutes without their talented front four. It could go all the way to penalties, you know. Gianni, I'll be late. Keep the table for me, please.
Would you be able to call it, Roger Hannah? Who's going to go on and win this?
Livingston have been better in the second half. Absolutely a lot better in the second half. Joel Newbley has led the line terrifically well. Teti Yengi next to him looks a decent addition as well, Gordon. And I just wonder, Thistle, no Brian Graham, no Lawless, no Fitzpatrick, no McInroy for this last half hour. I think the momentum is with the Premiership team.
Strange scheduling for us today, it has to be said, because we're now heading into extra time and maybe penalties at Firhill. Of course, the Rangers kick-off is 5:30, but the open line is still here. Give us a call, 0141 951 1025. Motherwell fans, how bad was last night? How do you look back on it? Has it ruined your weekend? Where did it go wrong? Is it unforgivable? Or will you move on and concentrate on the league? Today's football will mostly be about Aberdeen, I guess, and Kilmarnock and Hibs getting safely through. What about Glasgow's Big Two then? Rangers fans, you've got half an hour to preview the game. Do you think it'll be plain sailing tonight? You don't think Scott Brown's got a trick up his sleeve? Are you happy enough with the team that's been picked? Is that the team you would have gone for? And Celtic fans, are you worried about tomorrow? Or do you think all this stuff's over the top and it will be a straightforward afternoon? Let us know and we'll speak to you next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Yes, it's that time on a Saturday when you can have your say on whatever footballing issue tickles your fancy. It is a bit all over the place today because Rangers haven't kicked off yet and won't for another half an hour. Celtic you play tomorrow. Motherwell was last night. And some big games at 3 o'clock as well. But we're still here and you are a key part of this, so please do join us on 0141 951 1025. Motherwell fans, I'd love to hear from you. How bad was that? How disappointing? Where did it go wrong? Is that the type of result you get over quickly, or is that one going to sting for a bit longer? Any Morton fans out there, it would be nice to give you the praise that you deserve. You were excellent, on a great run of form as well. Get the calls in. If we work our way forward to today, in this part of the world, the big drama is still to come because Partick Thistle and Livingston are into extra time, maybe penalties, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Rangers fans, 7 changes today. What do you make of the team? Is that the team you would have picked? Do you see any issues at all? Or will Scott Brown's side be swept aside? Do let us know. Willie Collins, the ref, of course. I take it you'll all have no problem with that, as Philippe Clement pointed out. Maybe not. Give us a call either way. And Celtic fans, what about tomorrow? There's been a lot of negativity. There's been a lot of criticism around. Is it over the top? Or do you fear for tomorrow going to St Mirren? Let us know on 0141 951 1025. Let's get a reminder of those teams from Ibrox with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Gordon, 7 changes for Rangers coming into this one. Out go Yilmaz, Lawrence, Lundstrom, McCausland, Cantwell, Matondo and Dessers. In come Barisic, Jack, Raskin, Wright, Silva and Diamandi and Cortez for their first starts after joining in the January transfer window. So it's Jack Butland who continues in goal for the Ibrox side. The back 4, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Suter and Borna Barisic. The 2 holding midfielders, Ryan Jack and Nicholas Raskin. The 3 in behind the striker, Scott Wright, Mohamed Diamandi and Oscar Cortez. It's Fabio Silva leading the line. The substitutes, McCrory, Yilmaz, Lundstrom, Dessers, Cantwell, Matondo, Davies, King and McCausland. As for Ayr United, just looking at Scott Brown at the moment, standing on the edge of his technical area, just watching his team warm up at the moment. Robbie Much starts in goal for them. The back 4, Nick McAllister, Sean McGinty, George Stanger and Paddy Redding. The midfield 4, Logan Chalmers, Ben Dempsey, Roy Silla and Jamie Murphy. Mark McKenzie and Anton Dowd are the front 2 for them. The substitutes, Albinson, Sanders, McGeady, Tomlinson, Musonda, Willoughby, McHugh, Bryden and Guthrie. As you said, the referee is Willie Collum. There is VAR for this game as well. Andrew Dallas has those duties today.
Yes, that's right. This will be one of the few games. Remember, if it's a televised game at a ground that already has VAR, then it will be in play. So it will be here at Ibrox tonight. Maybe a first experience of VAR for many of these Rangers, many of these Ayr players. Sorry, Hugh. We were on last night. For anyone that missed it, you were a big fan of Philippe Clement's response to Willie Collum being appointed to this game, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Clement was as dismayed as I was over Rangers' request that Willie Collum no longer handle Rangers matches. It was a ridiculous request. The day that teams are allowed to pick the referee is the day the game's finished. And Clement said, and I thought very cleverly, if I thought the referee wasn't neutral, I would immediately quit my job. The man has got a kind of sophistication about him, a way of looking at these matters, a way of saying that what happened in the last Rangers Celtic game is in the past and he doesn't intend to go through the rest of his life going on about it. Clement knows what to do, and he is the father of the club, if I can put it that way. He's well in charge now, and he hasn't had 30 games yet as Rangers manager, so for me, he's got the brains for it.
It is verging on impossible that there won't be some sort of Willie Collum talking point tonight. Gordon, just tends to be the way these things work. But are you pleased that he's back, refereeing a Rangers game so soon?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Hugh just said there. When the Rangers manager comes out and talks the way he was talking yesterday, I applaud that, Gordon. I like what he says. I think he handles himself really well. He represents the club brilliantly, and what he said was right, and I'm delighted Willie Collins.
Well, for anyone who hasn't heard it, this was when Philippe Clement was asked about the man in the middle returning.
I'm happy, to be honest, because when there's a When there's one moment that I would think that the referee is not neutral, then I would directly quit my job. So I'm happy that we can leave the past behind us then.
Were you involved in the discussions?
No.
Would you have liked to have been involved in those discussions with others at the club ahead of that request being made?
That's something for in the club, and we've talked about that.
Okay, so moving forward, if a similar situation was to arise, would you expect to be consulted before anything was done?
That will happen in the future, yes. It was a clear handball, but I'm also not without faults. I make faults every day, probably. So I don't look at people, and if they make a mistake, that they are dead for life or something or whatever. No, this is a new game, new situation. So it's important to, and when we speak about history, not to live in the past. I think it's in life also really important not to live in the past.
Well, spot on. Can't get fairer than that from Clement, and the guys are right. He represents Rangers in the correct way. That's not always been the case, and particularly surrounding that situation. But it was quite interesting to hear Philippe Clement say that going forward he will be involved in things like that, and that's going back to what we said at the start of the show. He not only looks like a good coach and a good manager of the team on the pitch, but he looks like he's heading in the direction that he's going to be able to run the club. And I think Rangers needed a figurehead like that in the dugout with some authority. Looks like they've got their man now.
And he's been having a nice wee chat with Scott Brown down in front of you, Andrew.
Yeah, he has indeed. The two of them were just standing on the edge of the Ayr United technical area for a few minutes there, just having a bit of the chat. Of course, Scott Brown had said during the week he was asked about Rangers, had a wee quip where he said he's got a lot of love for Rangers. Philippe Clement asked about Scott Brown yesterday, saying that he's got a lot of love for anyone that loves Rangers. So the two of them, who knows, maybe just talking about their mutual love for Rangers. But yeah, we'll see if that love lasts the 90 minutes or even beyond of this game.
You sure it wasn't Philippe? I used to have a haircut like yours as well, and then I turned over a new leaf.
That is true. He's quite different looking now from his playing days, isn't he? But maybe that is just the manager mode of Scott Brown now.
Yeah, he's looking different, Mark Wilson. He'll be relishing this one.
A fair bit of length in that here. I've just seen him on TV there. A bit of product in it. I've never seen that. Look, he will be. He's a young manager who's just back in the country. And what a game to be pitched into at Ibrox. I mean, young managers wait their full career to get an opportunity like this. Look, it'll be difficult, so I don't know how much he'll expect from his team today or how they will represent him. He's been hugely successful at Ibrox in the past. I just think it'll be a step too far for his side this afternoon.
I think it could be a very interesting night for Scott Brown. It goes either way, does it? You know, if he can go out there and be proud of his team and they keep it tight and it's not a hammering, but if you're Scott Brown secretly inside, and let's be honest, he'll be sitting there going, you know, I would walk out of here maybe a 2 or a 3. I'd keep my head held high. Obviously I don't expect much here tonight at Ibrox, especially with that Rangers side, but you could easily be in the other end of an embarrassing score if Rangers really hit the ground running.
Here's what he had to say.
Once they go in the park, my voice is not going to be heard. You want to play against good teams. Rangers are a good team. They try and squeeze the game, they try and put you under pressure, they try to dictate the play, and we've got to deal with that. We'll need a little bit of luck as well. We need to make sure you try and silence the crowd, and as I say, Rangers are a good team. They've got some good quality players, and we can't let them dictate to us for 90 minutes.
Looking forward to it. 20 minutes to go. Still no change into extra time between Partick Thistle and Livingston 2-2 there. 0141 951 1025. That's the number John has dialed. What about tomorrow, John? Does that fill you with a bit of fear as a Celtic fan, or is the negativity a bit over the top?
Oh no, first of all, sure, I'd like to congratulate you last week for once getting a prediction right about Celtic. You've willed it for the last 20 weeks for us to drop points, so well done, Hugh, at last.
Well done, Hugh.
Anyway, well done, Shug. Anyway, no, the more I said to the producer there, the more I think it'll be a hard game for Celtic, but there's a bit of pressure off for the league obviously now, and would you call it, I think the more I would like, would you call it, say Shuria, I'd like Kyogo to play up front with Ida just to see how it goes. It's not as much a pressure situation, although it's a knockout cup game, but I like to see them tomorrow to try that and see how it goes. I wonder what Daz
Who are you dropping then? How does it fit?
Well, I would drop Abada. I think Abada was a bad game. No, I know he didn't play for the start last night, but
I would one of the wingers then.
Take your pick. I mean, they've not been fighting. I agree with you for one thing. The wingers haven't been playing great recently, so I don't know. It's just take your pick.
Yeah. Well, you too, Mark. Daz, will we see Ida and Kyogo?
Listen, I very much doubt it. I've got to be honest. It just means changing the full system, and we've very rarely seen Brendan Rodgers do that. Change the system, take one of the wingers out. What do? Just leave that big hole there on the right hand side if it is Kuhn. Or do you push one of your midfielders?
It's more likely to be one of the midfielders, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you not think the biggest question is what one will we see? Will either start? Will
either got to play again?
Cause he 2 penalty kicks?
Yeah, surely.
You know, whether he goes back to Kyogo, because let's be honest, if Kyogo is playing the way to his top form, he's a magnificent footballer. But I like this lad. I like to look at him. I think there's goals in him. But I'll keep going back to it. I says on Thursday night, Gordon, if I looked at Celtic just now, my concerns are wide areas. I cannot believe how negative they are in the wide areas. And also, and I said it, and I don't think Celtic fans like hearing it, but the captain, who's been absolutely brilliant for them, is way below form for me.
One of the problems that Brendan Rodgers has with the Celtic support, and there have been many problems, is that they blame him for Kyogo not being the player that he was for 2 seasons under Ange Postecoglou, and the fact that he's only scored 8 goals this season, and the Majowskis of this world and Shanklins are leaving him behind. I tend to agree with you, Gordon. I think that Adam Ida will start the game in Paisley because there is a belief among the fans in him. It remains to be seen whether that is justified or not, but I think Kyogo does not look like the same player. I have no idea why. How much it has to do with Postecoglou no longer being there. Has Brendan Rodgers changed anything? The manager vehemently denies that he's changed anything about Kyogo. But one of the main reasons why the title race is in the balance, hanging by a thread for Celtic, is that Kyogo, the goals have gone.
You got high hopes for Adam Ida, John. What have you made of him? Because there was a lot of negativity when he signed. I don't know if it was personal. You just look at the fact that, you know, he wasn't pulling up trees at Norwich and it was loan deal and Celtic fans were maybe wanting a bit more. He got caught up in that. Now that he's here, do you think he's maybe going to be a success?
As Kenny Miller pointed out last night, I don't think it was so much negativity towards the boy. It was just the transfer. You know what I mean? The dealings in the transfer. I think it wasn't as much the boy. But what I've seen him, he look good. And I can't think it was sure all night to say as well. He stepped up to the plate. All right, it's 2 penalties, but it was a pressure situations, especially the second one, and he took the penalty well. So what I've seen him so far, the wee cameo he got at Aberdeen last week, he seems all right. You know what I mean? But see what Fraser Wishart said today as well, guys. I think we're due to go on a run, Celtic. So I mean, we've still got quality, but I think what Shu was saying there as well about Kyogo, I think it's the final ball, Shu, as well this season, and it seems to be a different system a wee bit. You know what I mean? And he's not getting the service he was getting last year or the year before for the wingers. The wingers have been terrible this season. That's about 5 or 6 we've tried. So I would actually even maybe, as Kenny spoke about last night as well, Forrest hasn't really had a look in this year, and he's tried and tested. So I would a wee shout for Jamesy Forrest tomorrow as well.
At what point, Mark, do you need to give somebody a bit of a run at it? Because the wingers have chopped and changed, and sometimes it's been availability issues. But I mean, Nicholas Kuhn's, he's only just here.
Yeah.
James Forrest has not been, as John acknowledges, miles out of the picture. Just bring him back. Then what?
I would see that as a remarkable step back, and I mean that with the greatest respect to James Forrest. But if you're going transfer window after transfer window and adding wingers to your side, yet reverting back to the thought of James Forrest being the best of the bunch, then I think you're in real trouble. Look, I initially thought it would be Abada. Abada has impacted Celtic positively for the couple of years he's been here. I think he's been remarkable. Now, he's not always the best at beating players, but his numbers, his assists, his goals, his goal contributions in one way or another, it's been huge. What John's talking about there, the cutbacks, Abada's runs in recent years has been there. But there's no doubt when he's come back from this injury, I mean, the other night at Easter Road was it's one of the worst cameos I've seen. Kuhn looks like, listen, I really don't know what Kuhn's going to be, because we hear reports that he's electric and he can run by people. I've yet to see it. I've seen a wee glimpse at Pittodrie, but Daz is right. At Easter Road the other night, he looked way off it.
You say a great point there, Gordon. He's only in the door, Kuhn. I think you've got to give him the opportunity to go out there and play. Me personally, looking at it just now, you've paid money for Kuhn. You've come out and stated the reason why he's a winger and he's in is because he's better than what you've got. So for me, you've got to play him, and I would play Palma. Right, that would be my two, because I think Maeda is a workhorse, no doubt, but sometimes just frustration lacks that sort of a final touch or whatever it may be. I think it'd be great coming off the bench. Abada, to me, the other night there, is just not one for a boy. He doesn't look happy. He doesn't, he's been a long-term injury, of course, but I don't think he's ready to be in that pressure situation now, because it's going to be a pressure tomorrow. St Mirren will fancy this. They're at home. Celtic, I'll go with there with a back four of probably Ralston. Will Welsh be fit? Yep. Scales.
Welsh is fit.
Welsh, Scales, and obviously Burnaby. It's not your strongest back four you've ever seen, but you need the quality middle to front to go and win the game.
Maeda played off the right, did he not, in the 3-0 game just before the winter break?
Scored the first goal.
Yeah. I think he'll go with Maeda. Now, I don't know what that says about Kuhn. Maybe he will need time to adjust, but I think tomorrow's game is so important.
The other night, though. Yeah?
Sorry.
Yeah, but they left Palma on the bench, yeah.
So I think Kuhn and Maeda.
Oh.
So, if it was Kuhn and Maeda, that's just the same as the other night.
No, I think it'll be Maeda off the right and Palma off the left.
Do you think Palma, who didn't start the other night, did enough when he came on to show that he should start the game?
No, I don't think he did. I think he showed in flashes at Pittodrie.
He did, but that's the question.
That is Palma, flashes at the minute, and he's got the numbers to suggest he has been a good signing, but hugely frustrating. But I think we all agree that the problem is for Celtic in the wide areas in creating, and once you sort that out, I think Kyogo then in turn sorts himself out and the goals will come after that.
But would you not ask yourself a question then, Gordon? If you go and you bring in a winger that you don't need, right, for numbers, let's say numbers, and spend so much money on him, it's not to let him settle in for the starting it. It's to make an impact now, because you've spent a lot of money. So this is a massive game tomorrow, because if Brendan Rodgers loses this, as much as they're top of the league, if he loses this, he comes in for unbelievable criticism. So you've got to bring in the players, play them. I think I can take Mark's point of view. I won't be surprised, but I would go Kuhn and Palma. I think that's the best bet.
You think Celtic go through tomorrow, John?
I think they will. I think it's Fraser Wishart said today, and I think we're due to hit a bit around the forum. I mean, we have been terrible recently, but it's fair play. Rangers have kicked back, got back into it, although we let them in. But I think we will. I think it'll be 2-1 or 3-1. And I'd like to say something now as well, by the way. See this guy, Clement, I'll give this guy his due. I think he's the best figurehead Rangers have had since Walter Smith, and that's giving him a big compliment. He seems a nice guy, but I like Van Bronckhorst too, he's a nice guy. But I think Clement is quite a nice guy, that boy, man, the way he conducts himself, especially when it came to the referee situation that he spoke about there, know what I mean, that he'll deal with himself the next time, which was fair play to the boy, know what I mean.
I think you're a nice guy, John. Thanks for joining us. We'll take more calls, and kick-off at Ibrox is next.
Talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Not far away from kick-off at all at Ibrox. The phone lines are open. You can give us a call. You can let us know whether you are looking back on last night's football, today's football, previewing tomorrow. We're here for you. It's just a bit of a crazy schedule, unfortunately, with the way TV works in cup weekends. Rangers and Ayr 6 minutes away from kick-off and still poised at 2-2. Are we heading to penalties at Partick Thistle against Livy?
Sounds like it.
Yep. Well, I did have a thought that would go the full way. Thistle fans will be nervy, because I think it's a different feeling when you've came from 2-0 down to 2 each. You'll take anything. You'll even take penalty kicks to get through. But if you've been 2 up and you think you're sailing through, it's a different feeling taking that penalty.
It'll be exciting. For Hill for thrills, that's what they say. You just wonder if you're a manager, you're looking at your bench, the substitutions you've made, that you're taking off probably some of your best penalty kick takers. That's a big worry.
We can't be too far away. Let me see, it was half time in that extra time.
Roger's still there?
About 9
Or is he
minutes
just
ago.
left?
No,
He's
left.
there. He's on his starter.
He's there. So yeah, it's ticking along nicely, heading towards the most dramatic conclusion, which is always penalties. So we'll keep an eye on it. Of course, we'll get kick-off to come at Ibrox, and we do have phone calls to get to as well. So blame the Scottish Cup. He says, was I supposed to stay, Roger Hanna? But he's there. He's pulling your leg. I'm sure he'll be there. Right, let's go back to Ibrox, just get a flavour of the build-up. Andrew, I know these games not on season tickets and so on, and on the telly, so a reduced crowd, I would imagine, but still a big payday for Ayr.
Yeah, there is a reduced crowd, but it's still a good turnout in terms of the home side. Plenty of Rangers fans here, and I think there's around 1,700 Ayr supporters as well. Rangers quite often giving lower league sides a bigger allocation if they're coming here in the Scottish Cup, because it is a big away day for them. So the corner far over to my left, full of Ayr United supporters. Some of them will have belief that their side can come here and cause an upset. Some of them will just be hoping to make the most of what will be a good away day for them. None of the sort of players and staff of Rangers will say this out loud, but this competition, of course, is part of a potential domestic treble that Rangers can still achieve this season. That's why it is a strong lineup for Rangers and for Philip Clement, despite making 7 changes, but they do have quite a deep squad with players coming back from injury and a couple of January signings as well. But you look at Ayr United, surely they will be fired up under Scott Brown. He has plenty of big memories and results of his time as a player at Ibrox. He's got the experience, he's got the know-how. It's just how he can pass that on to his team going into a big game for them today. I'll run you through the teams again. As I said, 7 changes for Rangers: Yilmaz, Lawrence, Lundstrom, McCausland, Cantwell, Matondo and Dessers all dropping out. Barisic, Jack, Raskin, Wright and Silva all coming in, as do Mohamed Diamande and Oscar Cortez for their first Rangers starts. Probably a perfect scenario really for those two to come in and show the Ibrox crowd what they're capable of. Philip Clement hoping they'll be good long-term investments for Rangers, but with the club fighting on all fronts still this season, he'll be hoping that they can make a good contribution in the second half of this campaign. So they are in from the start. Jack Butland in goal for them. The back four: James Tavernier, Connor Golson, John Suter and Borna Barisic. Ryan Jack and Nicholas Raskin, the two holding midfielders. Scott Wright, Mohamed Diamande and Oscar Cortez in behind Fabio Silva. The substitutes: McCrory, Yilmaz, Lundstrom, Dessers, Cantwell, Matondo, Davies King and McCausland. The 11 selected by Scott Brown. Robbie Much in goal. The back four: Nick McAllister, Sean McGinty, George Stanger and Paddy Redding. The midfield four: Logan Chalmers, Ben Dempsey, Roy Silla and Jamie Murphy. The two up top: Mark McKenzie and Anton Dowes. The substitutes: Albinson, Sanders, McGeady, Tomlinson, Musonda, Willoughby, McHugh, Bryden and Guthrie. The referee for this one, of course, is Willie Collum, just a few weeks after Rangers requested that he isn't involved in their matches going forward. The SFA quickly turning down that request. He won't be the most popular man inside Ibrox, I think that's fair to say, but Philip Clement wants that all put in the past, and as we mentioned earlier on, there will be VAR in use for this game. Andrew Dallas, the man operating that from Clydesdale House.
Looking forward to it a lot. It's only about a minute and a half away if things go to plan. James Tavernier is in the tunnel. He'll lead Rangers out, as he so often does, even cup games against lower league opposition. No rest for the Rangers captain, Gordon.
Yeah, incredible servant, and you know what he's given Rangers is, we always say here in this show, every game he never, and touchwood, he never ever gets injured. The lad, he plays in every game, just loves playing for a club. He's been absolutely brilliant, great leader for me as a captain. I think he leads by example, and he'll be looking forward to getting the rest of the lads and getting his team into the next round of the Scottish Cup.
Philippe Clement is in the dugout chatting to his coaching team, which of course includes a friend of the show, Alex Ray, who spent many Saturdays in here with you guys.
I miss him so much. I mean, someone who had to pass my house to get to his house. I mean,
that's some cheek. Wilson takes you home every Saturday.
I have to go 25 minutes out of my way to get you home. My dinner's always cold when I get back.
That's the thanks you get.
I know.
Did you see the picture of him and Philippe Clement this week?
Yeah.
I actually witnessed it live in person at Rangers training. Have you not seen it?
I've not seen it.
So Philippe Clement goes up behind him, grabs him in a sort of bear hug and lifts him up. Now obviously they've got the same haircut.
Yeah.
So the internet as it does. Social media never misses a trick. Very quickly with the Dr. Evil on Mini-Me, where he's got him in the. Has he got him in a papoose, or is he just picking him up?
Oh, that's good. That is good. I'll need to see this.
It is very good. But anyway, Alex, part of that coaching team.
All of those intelligent, inspirational words spoken by Philippe Clement about Willie Collum and things that happened in the past will any second now be totally forgotten about when Willie Collum leads these teams out to a cacophony of booing for Willie Collum.
Are you wondering if you're Willie, you're just saying to Scott Brown, you go first. You on you go. You go first, we'll come in.
Oh, there's McGeady as well. Actually, you go in front of me.
He's go there. Go on. But look, once the whistle goes, I'm sure the fans are concentrating on the football, and it's a bit excitement because of what's there. You know, Scott Brown, and you know the times he's been there with Celtic as the captain, and the enjoyment he's had, and I'm sure Rangers fans will be delighted to put one over on him this afternoon. And you forget Stephen Whittaker, he's assistant manager, played very well for Rangers.
Is that enough to take the heat off Scott Brown?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think Ali McCoy standing next to Scott Brown could take the heat off him.
Red Adair couldn't take the heat off Scott Brown at the moment.
He's pictures on Scott Brown shaking everybody in there.
I thought he was going to
so damn. It looked like he was going to a lot.
I think he was even shaking the ball boy's hand there at one point. Scott Brown trying to make friends before the game kicks off, I'm sure. But there we go, we're about to get underway in that one. Go on then, you three. You've had I think it's been an easy day for you so far. What about the predictions for this one?
Rangers 3, Ayr 0.
Okay, simple. Mark Wilson
5-0 Rangers.
5. Some way to talk about his idol, his hero, Bruni,
his
best pal.
But he knows Bruni's not listening. I'll go in between then. I'll go for a 4.
Not even a goal, no sniff of a goal.
No.
Quiet evening for Jack.
I think if you look at Rangers back 4, the goalkeeper as well, very solid indeed. No, I don't like. If I was Scott Brown, it was 3-2-3. I would take that because it could be a long afternoon.
What does anyone honestly expect? Really and truly, they're in the bottom half of the championship. What does anyone expect? Of course they go to Ibrox and lose. It's quite straightforward.
Jamie Murphy, of course, back playing at Ibrox. Had a promising start at Rangers. That knee injury at Rugby Park, remember that?
Right,
Never really seemed to recover thereafter. The camera zooms in on the man in the middle, Willie Collum. He picks up the ball. I can just imagine the noise around as he does that. I thought there was some sort of issue with the match ball there, and I thought that's typical. That's the last thing he needs, is some sort of drama. But I think he was just returning the coin, and it will be Ayr that get
take
things
that in
underway.
his stride, Gordon. I know Wally very well. He's a very experienced man.
You know him very well now, do you?
Well, I'll take very out then. I know him well. He's an experienced referee. He's managed all over the world. So
you don't think that'll be bothering him just now?
Nah, I think he'll take that with a pinch of salt.
Nonsense.
He's a showman.
Even the best players in the world, when they go into a game or an environment they know it's going to be hostile, get nervous. Referees cannot be different for top players.
It's different because he's not kicking the ball, he's just making decisions.
That he's worse.
Bruce Anderson in the 120th minute, saved by Jamie Sneddon. Nearly snatched away from Partick Thistle right at the death. It looks like it will be. There's been a winner right at the death. 120 plus on the clock. Who's got it?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Is Livingston is after added time. They were 2-0 down. They pulled it back to 2-2. They took it to extra time. We are in added time at the end of the 120 minutes. Tete Yengi, a flying header, cross from the right. Heartbreak for Partick Thistle, and Livingston have won it.
Heartbreak, as you say, but joy unconfined for Davy Martindale and those Livy players. They are nailed to the floor of the Premiership table. They haven't won a league game since October. That is somebody's result of the weekend on Monday night in this programme.
Oscar Cortez hits the outside of the post. Jinks in looking for his first Rangers goal. Got a good hold of it. It was a very good effort. Wrapped his foot round it off the outside of the post and away. What a result that's going to be. I can't imagine there's time for Thistle to do anything. Huge finish to that one, Gordon.
Yeah, massive. And look, as much as I'm gutted for Partick Thistle, and obviously Mark works with them, but David Martindale needed that today. 2-0 down, he's probably sitting there going, here's another ruined weekend, we're out the Scottish Cup, we're going to get relegated, everything's going wrong, and all of a sudden that goal from Newbley has just turned it around for him. Completely different vibes now. The one thing I'll say about Partick, a little bit of Achilles heel, that's twice in big moments when they've had, for instance, up at Ross County, they had promotion in their hand, they let it slip. Today they've got the quarter final.
Full time. Roger Hannah.
Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 3. Livy are into the last 8 of the Scottish Cup after an incredible fight back at Firhill this afternoon. They looked dead and buried. They fell behind in 27 minutes. Cairn McInroy smacking one home from 30 yards. They then lost both Scott Pittman and Sean Donnellan to injury. They had a goal disallowed when Teti Yengi header was ruled out by referee Nick Walsh. They then fell 2-0 down after 61 minutes. Aidan Fitzpatrick's fierce shot taking a deflection and flying under goalkeeper Michael McGovern. It looked as if it was going to be too big a mountain to climb for the Premiership's bottom club, but they were transformed after that. Joel Newbley got it back to 2-1 in 66 minutes with a tap in from after Ayo Obalai's header at a corner had been stopped on the line. It was a controversial corner, the ball clearly hitting Bruce Anderson last before it went behind. It should have been a goal kick to Thistle, but then Livingston kept coming back. Tommy Adeloye actually hit the post for Thistle, but there was Livy. 2-2 in 82 minutes. A pass from Andy Shinnie, a great run and finish by Newbley to send the game into extra time, and it was all Livingston in extra time. Jamie Snedden pulling off saves from Stephen Kelly, Teti Yengi, and in the 120th minute from Bruce Anderson. They also had a penalty claim waved away when Jason Holdshot clearly struck Harry Milne on the hand. It looked as if it was going all the way to penalty kicks, but then after the 120th minute, a ball in from the right, a flying header by Teti Yengi. It went past Snedden and crept inside the far post. He was off and running, shirt off, a booking for his celebrations. He will not care. Livingston have got only their second win in 4 months. They're in the hat tomorrow. Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 3.
What was the reaction like from the Partick Thistle fans around you, Roger?
The Partick Thistle fans absolutely furious. They're going back to the pivotal decision. 66 minutes, the corner given when the ball clearly came off Bruce Anderson. It was 2-0 at that stage. Thistle looked to be coasting, so much so that Chris Doolan actually took off Stephen Lawless and Brian Graham at 2-0. I think he probably thought the tie was in the bag. It most certainly wasn't. The corner came in, Thistle couldn't deal with it. Newbley gave Livy a lifeline, and my goodness, they've grabbed that lifeline. They're into the quarter-finals.
Wow, what a finish, Roger Hannah. I'm looking forward to hearing the thoughts of David Martindale in particular and Chris Doolan after that. Whether we squeeze them in before the end of tonight or not is another matter. But what can you say? Scottish Cup drama. We've probably lacked a bit of real drama over today. It's been straightforward for the Premiership teams, but that certainly qualifies as the romance of the Cup. Coming down, back from 2-0 down, winning 3-2 in the 120th minute. Well done, Livy. Commiserations, Partick Thistle. Any Thistle fans out there? Maybe you're getting in the car here. What are you blaming there? The corner that should never have been awarded? Or maybe a couple of premature substitutions from your team? 0141 951 1025. 5 minutes gone at Ibrox, Gordon. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think Ayr have settled into the game quite well. There's that sort of a half chance, if you want to call it. Cortez on the left hand side cuts in, nice effort, but it was always going outside of the post. Rangers will just be probing away here, trying to get the first goal. I think the first goal's so important, and it's a case of, can Ayr keep just, they'll go through segments of this game, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then they'll look at the half hour. But you would imagine Rangers will be creating chances. They're starting to use the width of Ibrox and try to stretch the Ayr players and get balls into the box, a bit of quality, and get that opening goal.
Yeah, the half hour mark will seem like a while away yet, I'd imagine.
1.5. I mean, they probably will still be looking at the clock at the minute, but just in 3 minutes they're trying to take their time over everything. But Rangers really lively. Another shot there from Cortez. So yeah, Rangers have started quickly.
He looks like he started well. Yeah, he looks really lively. I've quite liked to look at him since he's came to Ibrox.
Well, Mandy linking up with him there, the other new signing.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting for these guys just to bed themselves
like
in.
Somebody who shoots on sight, when the raffles, don't buy a ticket.
Actually, very little difference from talking about the gap or whatever between the top flight and the Championship. This kind of just looks like the Livy game last week in the league was there, and it was a very much one-way traffic. I don't actually know if Jack Butland touched the ball with his hands at any point during that 90 minutes, and that was a Premiership tie. So maybe this will be something similar. Fabio Silva with some neat footwork but not able to make full headway, so it just comes back, and it's real patient possession from Rangers. Right, we'll keep you up to speed on this. We'll look back on today's action. Any Partick Thistle fans, you must be getting in the car now. How bad was that? How bad is that end to the game, away to exit the cup? 01419511025. Celtic fans, all confident for tomorrow or fearing the worst? Somewhere in between? Let us know.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
We have a goal at Ibrox, and unsurprisingly, if you've seen the first 10 minutes, it goes to the home side. Maybe not a predictable goal scorer. It is Borna Barisic. Lots and lots of Rangers pressure so far down the left. Ayr had the chance to clear it, they couldn't quite manage it. Fell to Barisic at the edge of the box. Maybe was there a slight nick? It certainly went through a ruck, and it's in the bottom corner, and Rangers lead by a 1-0, and the long night for Ayr just got longer.
Yeah, it's not the start that Scott Brown would be looking for, but all credit to Rangers. They've dominated the 10 minutes, Gordon. They've hit the outside of the post, down this left hand side. They look a real threat. They're going to cause so many problems, and I'll tell you what, great finish from Barisic, good strike, and Rangers are now back on the front foot. They're looking to probably have this game to bed, this cup tie to bed by half time.
Cortez involved again though, Mark. He's been lively.
Yeah. By the way, looks decent. Only, early stages of this game. People say, oh well, it's against Ayr, but I think you can see when the player takes the ball and the way they move it, how quick they are, sharp and not afraid to take a shot. So early stages, he looks to be a player who will look to go and impact the game as early as possible. Looks a decent one. But good finish, got to say, for Barisic here, because I didn't expect him, if I'm honest, to take that on first time. Poor defending from here, but fair play to Barisic. Took a slight nick.
It was actually more than a slight nick in the end, just with the way the ball's travelling. But anyway, Hugh, it's been coming.
Yeah, the game is what it was always going to be. It's a training exercise for Rangers. Jack Butland's back in that situation where you wonder if he'll actually touch the ball. And Barisic, I think he showed good invention there. I'll just take a snapshot at it, and he's got his reward.
Paul is on the phone. What do you think about tomorrow, Paul? Is there fear attached to that type of draw? It's clearly not an easy draw, or will Celtic deal with it comfortably?
Well, before I do that, Gordon, I've got a foolproof way. If Hugh's hanging his hat on Philip Clement winning the league for Rangers, I've got a foolproof way for Celtic to win it. We just bring back, he said if there was any referees that weren't pulling their weight, he would resign. So if you bring back Jim McCluskey, Mike McCurry and Bobby Madden, then this job done.
Maybe, Paul, it's a theory.
Anyway, reverse psychology. So, you there, yeah?
Yeah, got you.
Yeah. So just a theory that I've been sort of doing a little bit of research on about third seasons with teams that play at intensity, and I think the guy is Marcelo Bielsa was he was the godfather. He played this way, which is now we know as Ange Ball. But Klopp's teams have had a dip. Mourinho's teams were famous for it. And Celtic are now into their third season. There just seems to be something wrong with Callum McGregor, even Matt O'Reilly. They just seem short on energy. Actual physical energy. I don't know if you can pin that on Brendan Rodgers as such. They just seem to be running on empty at the moment, and I don't just mean Callum McGregor. I just think the whole team looks that it's not capable of playing at the same intensity as they were in the previous two seasons. And as I say, there is previous for this with teams at a higher level.
I think you're overthinking this, Paul, if you don't mind me saying so.
It might be the opposite, no? Is that like a really simple explanation, and that sometimes, frustratingly, football's a cycle that just kind of comes to an end?
Yeah, but we could be start off, Paul, with bad transfers, bad signings. Could we throw in the 8-point lead that Celtic had at one stage in the season? There has been a combination here of inefficiency in terms of bringing in new players. I won't say complacency because Celtic were 8 points clear, but they did have that lead and they have thrown it away. And they have thrown it away on the back of things like losing to Hearts at Celtic Park, losing to Kilmarnock, making life very difficult for themselves in other places. I will cut them some slack and say there have been tremendous injury problems along the way. However, the season up to this point has been misadventure by Celtic. They had an 8-point lead, Paul, and they've thrown it away.
You talk about the transfer. I think this transfer window has been a success in the sense that both the players have scored. The boy Edius came in and made an instant impact, and Kuhn gets his goal, albeit it didn't look great in the game against Hibs. So, they're literally in the door. And again, I don't think Brendan Rodgers had anything to do with signings like Yang in the summer. So I think, again, he needs to get another transfer window. But there just seems, Hatati's injuries, McGregor looks, really, and why wouldn't he? I think he's played more minutes than any player on the planet. And just even Joe Hart maybe just getting killed. He was a great at shot stopping against Hibs, but maybe getting off his line and, playing the ball out for the back, all that kind of thing. So it's just a theory. Just think that I don't think they lack application. If the chances go in, if Palmer takes his chances in the first half against Aberdeen, it's a different story. It's all margin. Where I would agree with you, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, is if they sign Majowski or Shankland, then that is job done in terms of getting a striker. But Ida could be the answer without having to part with any money, in which case it'd be a great transfer window.
We debate new signings, but you've declared this transfer window in January a success on the back of Adam Ida scoring 2 penalty kicks and
his overall performance in terms of offering something different.
Yeah, but he hasn't even had a game and a half yet. If I had said this
exactly, and you want to judge it as a bad transfer window.
But you've just called it a good transfer window on the back of less than a game and a half.
No, I said the start that they made would say.
You said it amounted to a successful transfer window. That's what you said.
Well, it would look that way with the start that the two players have made.
On less than a game and a half?
Oh, they've scored 3 goals and they've all came for the players that came in.
It's early both ways, clearly, so you're both kind of right, but we've seen very little of Kuhn so far, surely, Paul, to have that optimistic outlook.
No, I agree, but another point I just thought of there is Brendan Rodgers should be congratulated for showing bravery and putting them straight in and dropping Kyogo, who's, the fans' favourite, and all of that. So he's came in, he's made great decisions. He's been decisive as a leader and made decisions, and
then dropped 2 points at Pittodrie.
Yeah, but and they still won the game against Hibs. So he's still vindicated, given the fact that he brings Ralston on, he wins the tackle, brings Kyogo on, he wins the penalty, and Ida solves the penalty taking issue by scoring 2 in the one game.
We can't keep going on about the transfer window forever, but that said, even if Adam Ida comes and scores some goals, are we that simple that means that was a good transfer window? Surely there's more to it. Celtic didn't sign a left back. Celtic should have signed a left back. So even if Adam Ida does really well, there were still issues that remained not addressed in the January window. We can't be that fickle where if he goes and scores a couple next month, it was a good window then. It must be more than that.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think if Celtic win the league, I think Celtic fans will go, well, it's been a very good transfer window. They went on and won
that's
the
what
league.
I'm saying. I just don't think it has to be that simple. You can have a bad window and win the league.
Yeah, but I don't think Celtic, if you look back at it, the supporters and everything, and Brendan Rodgers as well, I don't think Celtic have had a good transfer window. But where I'm listening to Paul about his theory, I don't know about his theory, whether it's the 3-year cycle or whatever it may be. The one thing that they've got to do is, and it's got to start tomorrow because it's difficult at Paisley, especially with the back four's going to be, especially, and he quite rightly mentions Callum McGregor. He's well below par. The wingers were so negative for me on Wednesday, but they still grinded out the result. I like Ida up front. I think he will score goals for Celtic, but they need to find something very quickly, or if they keep playing the way they're playing, they won't keep grinding out the results.
Yeah, listen, I agree with Daz there, but the 3-year cycle, who's ever really going to know that or be able to prove that? You know, other than the Celtic sports scientists who have all the data collected. You know, sometimes players have bad games, have bad runs. Callum McGregor has went in an incredibly long run of games
We're very
for club and country.
We're very short term here as well, aren't we? It was 5 league games ago. 5 league games ago, people said, what a lesson Callum McGregor just gave to Todd Cantwell. Couldn't get near him, ran the game. 5 league games ago.
100%. And listen, that's the way both fan bases are, though. They are very judgmental very quickly. And the Celtic fans are right to criticise at the minute because they're not playing well at all. But how quickly can that change?
But I think Paul is representative of the supporter who is stunned by what's taking place at Celtic now. And as you rightly point out, 5 games ago all was well. They're stunned, and the league is now hanging in the balance. And I think the 3-year cycle is somebody overthinking it to a ridiculous degree.
But actually,
it's something different.
No, but
I
don't think you can prove it. But I think it's the opposite. I think it's still the opposite. It's actually simplifying it, because people want that silver bullet. People go, that's because he's using Kyogo differently. That's what it is. Or it's the transfers, when kind of sometimes football teams who've been good just stop being good, and it just kind of peters out a little bit. I think there are cycles sometimes in football that you have to acknowledge. Whether that's what's happening or not, well, we'll have to wait and see. Finishing thoughts on the Rangers game so far, Gordon? You've got to blame the scheduling. We'll need to make way for the GBX.
And well done to her. They've dug in deep after losing that early goal to Barisic, but you can imagine it's all Rangers possession. The games get played in theirs half. I think it's just a case of how many is after tonight.
Hibs Ayr have at least got up the pitch a couple of times.
Dowd's had a good opportunity there. He had Suter 1v1. Got to say, John Suter very good defending and just thwarts the chance. But I think I'm with Daz with us. Rangers look lively, they look up for it. I think Cortez on the left hand side has started very well, continues to play well in 20 odd minutes in, and I'm afraid I'm with Daz in this one. It'll be how many for Rangers?
You've had it easy. Most of the favourites winning today, albeit well done to Livy for coming back in the way that they did. Tomorrow, who goes through, Celtic or St Mirren?
I wouldn't want to categorically state either. I think it's really in the balance, that game. I don't think you could pick a winner right now.
Celtic will go through.
I've been worried about Celtic in the cup tie. I'm going to maybe go for underdog. I'll go St Mirren.
Wow, okay, leave it there then. We'll find out. It should be a lively Monday either way. Make sure you join us from 6 o'clock. Thanks for listening. The GBX is up next.
I wear a few different hats as a CFO. You know, sometimes it's referred to as Chief Fixing Officer. Wherever there's a fire in the business, I'm often there first.
Whatever hat CFOs like Imran need to wear, Sage's tools and insights can make sure they fit. Sage, helping business flow.